Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening. Thank you for joining me. Thank you, Rufus and Michael, for the lead-in. Good to see everyone here. And very topical that they were working on the Creativity 360 intro, as today I planned on doing some of the voice work for that, even in advance of knowing they were doing that. Hey, Boy Fruit. Twilight Jedi, how are you? Nice to see you. Echo Sith. Pink Strip, good evening. Limo Leo. Rulu, so great to see you. Yeah, great to see you guys. There's Digital Alien. Hello. Hey, Paul Weaver. Yes, I appear 3 times the name spoken. All right. So, very cool. Echo Sith. Aw, thanks. All right, so, hey, Kismo, hi. Rares dude, what's up? 2 Eyeball. Great to see all of you. So yeah, so we're gonna do some voiceover recording. You saw Rufus and Michael there just working on this little title intro for our Twitch takeover, which is happening on April 26th in San Francisco. And I'm going to be doing some of the voiceover copy for that today, and we'll kind of work on that on the stream. And also, you know, you may have seen the title was I'm Hearing Voices because I am hearing voices. Specifically like these. So at the end of the stream, probably in the last hour, I actually I need to do some recording. I got this idea to do some music for some gameplay that I was watching some of our fellow streamers do, and decided that Echo Sith, that those choirs aren't helping me drop that moniker, I guess, huh? Right? All right. Religious experiences. Let's careful now, Pinkster. One-handed. All right. It kind of does, right? So, yes. Hey, Star Crunch. Great to see you. So, yeah. So we're going to record this here. Let me see. I just got to check my input. And then I actually I'm going to be recording input 6. A little bit of, excuse me, like medieval-styled background music. I say medieval styled, probably more medieval/baroque, just in terms of instrumentation, because I'll probably use a little harpsichord, maybe some flute, wood flute, and then some creepy choirs and things, and try and get something, you know, that I think would sound really cool. So you can all join me for that. And here, I'm going to make a new mono track for this. But the first thing we're going to do is just, again, primarily work on getting this voiceover so I can deliver it over to Rufus and Michael so we can finish the little commercial that we're making. Digital Alien, preach it! Indeed. All right, so I should also mention, by the way, that if you happen to see me at some point during the stream today making some very odd faces, I do that anyway, and by that I simply mean, it's because I'm having some intense pain in the bottom of my jaw here, and my something, I don't know, I thought it was like a popcorn kernel that got stuck in there, and it wasn't. I don't know what it is. I'm going to see the dentist later. So it's like the pain is not super bad right now, but it could be ramping up. So if out of nowhere I just kind of go, you'll know why. All right, is there any platform to learn legit music theory? Platform. So you mean like online? I mean, you know, if you really want to learn it legit, where I went to school, to college, Berkeley in Boston, they now offer online courses. There's probably other universities and other similar things. I mean, I would go if I wanted to learn it like for reals, I'd go, you know, straight to the source, and something like Berkeley College of Music, very famous. You know, countless numbers of famous musicians have gone there. Whether they graduated or not doesn't matter, but they've been there. And although I actually did graduate from there, that's probably where I would look first. They've really got the best people. Nobody hit me, Paul. I thought it was like I said, I thought I was eating popcorn the other day, and you feel like you get a kernel stuck in there, and didn't get it out via floss. So I thought, well, okay, we'll just see. Anyway, so Fen, I don't know if that answered your question at all, but that's where I would go. Yeah, for real, Zihajo, I don't joke about teeth, because I like mine, and I want to keep them nice. So yeah, straight up, I woke up first thing this morning, called them and left them a funny message like, well, it's not a total emergency yet. I don't want it to be a 5-alarm emergency, so yeah, so I'll be going in later today. All right, so let's pull up the copy that Rufus just gave me, which I've got laying down here somewhere. And what I typically do when I do these things, I should probably grab a pop filter. Yeah, you know what I was going to do, too? I was going to tell you today that, Linux kernel. I was going to tell you that, if you don't have a pop filter, people ask this all the time, you can also just use like a hanger, clothes hanger, a wire clothes hanger. And if you've got like a pair of stockings, which I just happen to have laying around, of course. No, but if you have a pair of stockings, you can just drape the stockings over the hanger, and it's effectively the same thing. As purchasing a pop filter. I mean, I'm going to go grab mine, but, pop filters are 50, 70, 80 bucks, whatever, it could be more. You're largely paying for the arm to mount it on something, and with a hanger, it's pliable metal, so you could just kind of, wrap it around and create the same thing. I've done it many times back in the day when buying pop filters just wasn't really an option, so it's a good thing. Maybe I'll even grab one. If I have to make a pause later, I'll go. I have to look for stocking, but I'll grab a hanger. And all right, let me get my pop filter. 1 sec. Okay. Looks like I could only quickly find the big one. I've got a smaller one, which is more suitable, but that's okay. Again, I don't even use them too much, really, because speaking on mic, when you do it a lot, you just kind of know. And if you know your microphone. When I still wore stockings. Yeah. Class time. The 8-bit Duke, how are ya? So yeah, so let's see what we're doing here today. So this is the text that they want me to read. And here, let me just check my input level. All right. Now, someone asked me the last time on the stream, do you as far as like recording all inputs, I could theoretically just keep the music going because this is taking a discrete input from channel 6, as you see here. So we don't have to worry about muting any of that. So let's see how this goes. You thought it was just to keep the spit off the mic. Well, an engineer like myself would certainly say it helps. It depends what kind of stuff you're doing. But no, largely it's to prevent popping peas, plosives, things of that nature. I really can't mount. This one is too big to mount here, so I'm trying to find some other alternative way to kind of connect this if I can. By the way, this is what a regular pop filter looks like, and it's got this gooseneck arm, and this is the mount. So like this is the money. This is what you're paying for. Is this, right? This thing, like I said, stocking and a wire hanger does the same. It's, same effect. And as I'll show you anyway, because it doesn't mean you're going to absolutely have no plosives whatsoever or any kind of momentary transient. They're easy enough to fix in Audition anyway. So sorry this one's too big to mount. Yeah. Hey, dude, you said it. Smug tooth. Yeah, that's the kind of Monday it's going to be, huh? All right, that's cool. I dig. I'm with you. Yeah, see, nice. And you see, when you kind of get it on there, like, look at what I had to do here. A little finagling. But it's very bendy. So, you can kind of set it up real easily. An 80 MPF6. Nice. Hello, Galderama. Hey, Achilles heel. So, that's a good question, Achilles. Because a lot of the blue mic, a lot of those mics have kind of, and even I showed last week, like the SM58, which has, you take the basically the windscreen off the top, and it becomes an SM57. They do they do something in the realm of preventing plosives, because again, those are basically pop filter / windscreens. I don't know your specific one, but like with the 58, that's what that is. This just gives you a little bit more, right? And because of the nature of the fabric here, which is why I say stocking and not a sock, you're not necessarily attenuating or losing any sort of high-end, high-frequency stuff that you want. Not the bad stuff, because you don't want things like sibilants, right? Those are really harsh S's and things, which this isn't really going to do much. But again, it potentially could soften those a little, Similarly with something like a 58, where a very thick windscreen is in fact going to alter the strength of high frequency and stuff, which is why you have windscreens right outside. It prevents all the whoosh and all the and all the those. It's like 3 different types of wind, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Exactly, and that's exactly what I said, 8-Bit Duke. I don't typically, if you heard me just before, if you've seen me on here a million times, I never use them. Because when you do voiceover and you're speaking on mic all the time, you just learn kind of how to avoid them, which is absolutely the case. So I am with you there, dear friend. And you must do voiceover because that's what someone who does voiceover would say. And you're absolutely right. All right, so let's read this copy. Let's get to it. Hey, Valkyro. Well, thanks for coming in today. It's always great to see you. All right. Oh, now my dentist is calling me. Probably calling to tell me that they can't see me after all. I'm just going to have to endure the pain. Okay, so in typical fashion, I usually like to just take it, because you never know what take one is going to, what take one will bring. Computer fans.
Join us live in 30 minutes on
once again. I had all this other stuff already going there. Very good. Okay. Is my lower third higher than normal? Did it move? Maybe my camera moved. I think the camera moved a little. Here, let me adjust that. Wow, that's a weird angle of my head. All right. All this is being recorded, of course. So here, wait, let me just readjust my camera a little. Okay. All right, so let's give it a shot. Hey, VR Spirit. A robotic voice sound effect. Smugtooth, absolutely. In fact, maybe if you remind me when we're processing this, I can show you there's some presets and things that do that pretty easily, or can help, achieve that kind of sound. All right, I am going to kill the music just so I can hear myself better. And, here, I'm going to kill this too. The jet engine. Now, I've got all kinds of various soundproofing and things in here that's not mounted at the moment. Talked about that before. But as I said, a little bit of noise, I'll be able to tackle that anyway. What I will often do is kind of drape one of these things around myself. But because I've got so much gear and stuff here, it's probably going to move, which will just make other noises that are not consistent. Those are much harder to remove. So a little bit of you're hearing, there's like 3 computers going on in here. Here's some fan and stuff. That's fine. That we can zap out, no problem. And again, where it's going, always important to know. Where is this going to be listened to? On the web. Does that mean it can have noise? No, we don't want it to have noise, but it doesn't have to be the most ideal recording ever from the start because of where and how it's being delivered. And we'll use the techniques that I've shown you before to just make it great anyway. So, like I said, we're not making a record here. All right, so let's do it. Get in the zone. In the zone. In the zone. All right. Ready? Take 1. Join us live on twitch.tv/Adobe for a 3-day design extravaganza from April 26th to No, okay, so the copy's wrong there. From April 26th to 28th. Okay, that's not how we want to say it. So what should that say? From April 26th to the 28th. April 26th to the 28th. To the 28th. Photoshop. All right, I have to read it through just to make sure that Rufus's English is good. Photoshop Hall of Fame award winner Cory Barker will be creating. I'm giving him crap now. Is he on the stream still? Photoshop Hall of Fame winner Cory Barker will be creating incredible images and effects with Photoshop. Illustrator Sophie Roach will involve audiences worldwide as she creates one of her beautiful and intricate images. See how Synapse comes up with stunning motion graphics for Video Stinger. Follow us on Twitch and learn from these masters and other special guests at the first Creativity 360 on April 26th, 27th, and 28th. Only at twitch.tv/Adobe. Okay, I will add that only at twitch.tv/Adobe. Okay, Adone. All right. Let's erase everything I've done here so far. We don't need that rant. And we will just redo it. Where's the script editor? Yeah. He's in Tuscany. That's where he is. I think he dropped off. Oh, Pink Script, you're funny. I don't think they're coming today. The gardener. That doesn't mean one of my other neighbors won't have someone do something. But funny you mentioned that. I was actually a little concerned because we had it wasn't a full monsoon, but we had a very big storm yesterday for like 6 hours, which is not common this time of year in the desert. And a lot of cactus and things were like strewn all over the place. So, but it's all cleaned up now. All right, let's take it again. That is a major joke, right, Paul Weaver? Did you catch that one there? Join us live on twitch.tv/Adobe for a 3-day design extravaganza from April 26th to the 28th. Photoshop Hall of Fame award winner Cory Barker will be creating incredible images and effects with Photoshop. Illustrator Sophie Roach will involve audiences worldwide as she creates one of her beautiful and intricate images. See how Synapse comes up with stunning motion graphics for a Video Stinger. Follow us on Twitch and learn from these masters and other special guests at the first Creativity 360 on April 26, 27, and 28, only at twitch.tv/Adobe. Yeah? You feel me? Could you post a pic of your mic to show the steel mesh windscreen? Achilles heel, sure. Go ahead and ask the mods. They should let you do that. Smug. You were curious about the robotic voice because I was trying to make a sound effect that sounded similar to Warhammer 40k, Space Marine, or Dreadnought. Yeah, okay. So I'll show you where those effects. Well, here, just very quickly. I got to record this again. So that was a pretty good first take, right? I mean, that was pretty doable. It needs to be fast. I heard Rufus say that, and I may pause a little bit more in some of these sections so that I can do some processing in there. But basically, right off the bat, take one. Join us live on twitch.tv/Adobe for a 3-day design extravaganza from... I might slow that down a little bit there because /Adobe. You got to rest on that for a minute. People need to know where it is, right? Make it sound like a demon from hell. All right. Well, there's usually a combination of processes to make that happen. But just to kind of show you where you can find some of those... robotic, and I don't remember if it's in phase or flange, so here we'll just have to investigate together. Yeah, so here in the flanger, we've got this one here, robotic, which is kind of gonna sound like that it's got a resonating modulated frequency. Photoshop Hall of Fame award winner Cory Barker will be creating incredible images and effects with... You can kind of hear that there. So again, this is just the default, and you can adjust that to make it a little more crazy. Synthetic yo-yo is another one of those that kind of has that, again, in combination, like if you used multiple, and you can stack these, by the way, inside the effects rack that you see here. You can stack multiple effects very easily.
Photoshop Hall of Fame award winner Cory Barker.
Okay, that one isn't exactly doing it, but you get the idea. So try something in here. Hell's Chorus, was that another one? We'll be creating incredible images and effects with Photoshop. Yeah, so this one's kind of doing a very fast modulation, so you can't combine that with the robotic one, and then maybe do a little bit of a slowdown with our speed effect. And Hollywood trailers, absolutely Goldarama. And you can very easily achieve those kind of from hell kind of sounds. The phaser might have a few too. Again, it's kind of playing around with these things. Cartoon, I don't know what that does. Let's see.
Illustrator Sophie Roach will involve audiences worldwide as she creates one of her beautiful...
Now that, if you want to kind of make that a little more interesting,
intricate images. See how Synapse comes up with stunning graphics for Video Stinger.
Yeah, Yeah, see, you've got a little too much output gain, and you've got to kind of adjust the depth. It's some of these are too intense. That's where you're going to find them, though. If you go into modulation, you can start playing around with those. And I'm probably going to do a little bit of processing on this anyway later. Not robotic, but, you know, and we can kind of see if we can get somewhere. But the other key to that, as I mentioned, too, is just doing some kind of, you know, pitch stretch time shift. And that'll definitely give it that kind of sound. You know what I mean? And a vocoder. Oh, yeah, digital alien vocoder. Yeah, exactly. We're thinking alike there. You can do that, too. Cool. All right. Nice. Okay. My voice got you excited about the event, Echo Sith. That's great to know. Thank you very much. I'm excited for it too. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, so let's do another one. Let's do another read. And what do I think about that? The ending there. Follow us on Twitch and learn from these masters and other special guests at the first Creativity 360 on April 26th, 27th, and 28th. Should I put the THs at the end? You know, it's funny, you know, having worked in Europe for 2/3 of the year for the better part of the last decade, I got used to not doing that, and typically write my date and time as, like, you know, 28 November. You know, today is what? What is today's date? You know, 11 April. So, oh, it's Fuzzy Island's birthday. The guy who's singing right now behind us, whom I'm playing with. This is Fuzzy Island. Oh, we should all say a happy birthday to Fuzzy Island. Classic blues picker, whom I've known for many years and have had the pleasure to record on many occasions. Okay, so what do you think? TH or no TH? No one cares. All right, April 26th, 27th, and 28th. Only. All right. So you see what I'm going for? We are going for kind of movie announcer style because, and Achilles, I'm looking at your mic right now. There we go. Oh, yeah. So that little blue thing, that looks like a pop filter right there. Absolutely. Yeah, I didn't know if you meant it was contained in the ball, because again, like this, I don't know if I can pull this off here. Like I said, this is an SM58 standard Shure. It's a pop filter, but it's a pop filter windscreen. But the thing is, you can pull this off and you can kind of see the inside there. It is. It's foam. It's not too different. But now this becomes a 57. This is basically what a 57 is. And the 57 just has a little metal grate at the top here, but the capsule is exactly the same. So that's why I wasn't sure if you meant like the ball but that looks like it's actually a separate external pop filter, which is nice. You know, again, and you've seen me. I never use them on stream for regular things. You know, a plosive or two. You know, it's okay. All right, very nice. Happy birthday, Fuzzy. Oh, thank you, Carlo. All right, awesome. Thank you, Achilles. Yeah, Fuzzy's awesome. Okay, let's do another read of this. Let's do it. All right, Fuzzy, we're gonna pause you for a moment. Start the recording here. And let's pull up our copy. Let's take a drink of coffee. I did drink about 4 bottles of water before. You should all know. Okay. Hey, Desiree. Yes, so nice, right? Fuzzy's birthday today. All right, here we go. Join us live on twitch.tv/Adobe for a 3-day extravaganza from April 26th to the 28th. Photoshop Hall of Fame Award winner Corey Barker will be creating incredible images and effects with Photoshop. Illustrator Sophie Roach will involve audiences worldwide as she creates one of her beautiful and intricate images. See how Synapse comes up with stunning motion graphics for a video stinger. Follow us on Twitch and learn from these masters and other guests at the first Creativity 360 on April 26th, 27th, and 28th, only at twitch.tv/Adobe. Only at twitch.tv/Adobe. That was it. One more for safety. Only at twitch.tv/Adobe. Okay. I think there's some goodness in there. Hey, Des. All right. Join us live on twitch.tv/Adobe for a 3-day extravaganza from April 26th to the 28th. Hey Geezer the Gozerian, how often do I do tutorials and audition? It's usually about once a week. I'm usually going between video and audio. Last week just happened to be, I think I did mostly Premiere Pro last week. It was kind of in a color grading zone, and then we got into secondaries and using LUTs and working with the different color tools in Premiere, and kind of just, I was working on footage that I hadn't used in forever, so we wound up doing a lot of that, but usually about once a week. Toby Van Adobe. You didn't say special. Did I miss a word? Another special guests? Or did I just say and other guests? At twitch.tv. First creativity. Follow us on Twitch and learn from these masters and other guests at the... I didn't say special, you're correct. And other guests and other special guests. I guess they're special. All right, I'll do it again. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, Geezer, you can find, if you go, follow me here. So, by the way, thank you so much for joining me, everyone. I didn't really get to thank everyone for coming this morning. Thank you for joining me. Monday at 9:30 in Pacific time, and I am Beetlejace, so please follow me on my Twitch channel, Beetlejace, here on Twitch. You'll already find a whole bunch of different audition things up there. Also, that will have links to my YouTube and Vimeo channels, where I do have quite a few audition training videos. I don't do them as much anymore, actual training ones, but there are proper sort of training ones up there. Yeah. Okay, very cool. And I forgot design in the first part. Did I really? A 3-day design exchange? I didn't say the word design? Okay, well, I'll just believe you. It is also a bit early for me, So my eyes, my brain. Hey, Caviar, how are ya? Shiny sparkles. Hey, Anthony's Baked. Great to see you. All right, let's do one more. One more. Although I really did like that one, and I can live without those words, but I can't live without design, so I need to say that. I need to say that. So let's do it. Join us live on twitch.tv/Adobe for a 3-day design. Twitch.tv/Adobe for a 3-day design. Okay. Join us live on twitch.tv/Adobe for a 3-day design extravaganza from April 26th to the 28th. Photoshop Hall of Fame Award winner Corey Barker will be creating incredible images and effects with Photoshop. Illustrator Sophie Roach will involve audiences worldwide as she creates one of her beautiful and intricate images. See how Synapse comes up with stunning motion graphics for a video stinger. Follow us on Twitch and learn from these masters and other special guests at the first Creativity 360 on April 26th, 27th, and 28th, only at twitch.tv/Adobe. Okay, that was more like personal voice, which maybe wouldn't be bad. I don't need to get this all the time. So, that's the thing too, by the way, right? Voiceover. I get tired of hearing myself do that stuff, and I'm not, it's not all there this morning. I've said that a million times. You can't fake that. So when it's there, and when it's not, it's still in me, but it's just not necessarily going to come out right. So it's got to, balance. Echo sits. Money. Okay. Very good. More coffee. Damn right. So right, Pink Strip. All right. In the words of Elvis, one more. Just one more. Join us live on twitch.tv/Adobe for a 3-day design extravaganza from April 26th to the 28th. Photoshop Hall of Fame Award winner Corey Barker will be creating incredible images and effects with Photoshop. Illustrator Sophie Roach will involve audiences worldwide as she creates one of her beautiful and intricate images. See how Synapse comes up with stunning motion graphics for a video stinger. Follow us on Twitch and learn from these masters and other special guests at the first Creativity 360 on April 26th, 27th, and 28th, only at twitch.tv/Adobe. Yeah, maybe that one. All right. I think we've got enough.
Let's take it again.
All right, we've got enough. There's enough to choose from there. What do you guys think? Paul has some amendments.
Of course he does.
Well, hey, that's the benefit of being live, right? We can just go ahead and redo it. I don't care. Now, having said that, of course, as I'm waking up and getting more excitable, my voice will start to change. So get those to me quickly, Roof. Don't delay. And tell Paul he's a slacker. No.
I'm just playing.
All right. You like the less Hollywood trailer style better? My own voice? Unfortunately, that is kind of my voice, too. Anyone who knows me very well knows that I dip into long dramatic pause and pitch shifts. So that is kind of in me, but yes, I think you're right. Maybe a little bit less. Helium treatment.
Yeah, I don't know about that, Caviar.
All right. General Pavlov. All right. You'll never probably use Audition, but I may have to download the trial just to mess around with you. Oh, well, hey, thank you so much, Anthony. I appreciate that. You know, that's kind of one of our... Oh, thanks so much, Geezer. Yeah, that's great. Thank you. Really appreciate that, man. You know, that's the thing. We often talk about that. Hold on, now I'm getting all sweaty. We talk about that a lot, you know, how with so many applications, I mean, it used to be, there was a period where we were looking for people who kind of did everything. And of course, not everybody does everything, although today, if you're in any kind of, you know, web design, branding, marketing, you're kind of expected, well, it's not even expected, you sort of organically just start dipping into other things because you might need to do a little edit here or a little photo retouching or some kind of text manipulation or design or publishing or creation of some kind of you know, marketing and or advertising something, you know, and so you kind of bounce around. And years ago it wasn't quite as easy to even find resources if you weren't kind of in the scene. So I love hearing that, you know, it may not be your main bread and butter or your main thing, but you know, you still get inspired to just check it out, even if it just means downloading it and playing around. And don't forget, too, that, you know, we've got lots of demo and sample files that you can play with and manipulate, which are all free and royalty-free, that can be found at my site, budajumusic.com. Hey, Sliced Media, how are you? Ihajo, yes, Paul will be on the event. So myself, Paul, Rufus, and Terry White will all be co-hosting the Creativity 360. And we've got, as you saw, we've got Synapse, our very own Synapse, who is also presenting here on the Adobe channel. Sophie Roach, Corey Barker, and I'm guessing Paul might have another guest or two that didn't make it in there. So... oh yeah, Geezer, you've been playing Photoshop since it was one layer and everything was done in channels. It's funny because I've got an emulator that runs Photoshop and the original Illustrator on the original Mac that you can, you know, like mount on your desktop and run the old Mac OS. It's a lot of fun. Slice Media, welcome to the cloud. That's right. Someone said, there was a tweet like I should start every when that was new, I did start every presentation with that. It got a bit much after a while, but the cloud, what a great place to be. So true. All Adobe superstars. Yeah, Ihaja. Well, hey, thanks, man. We love doing it. Hey, Ian Livesey. Great to see you, man. So cool to see you. All right, so is Roof, are you still here? Am I still waiting? Can you send it like drop on? I don't want to have to open up email while I'm doing this. So what's the scene, Roof? Are you here? Or can I start editing this? All right, maybe we'll just work it in. Shout it out loud, Creative Cloud. Thank you, Anthony. That's right. Available now on Spotify. You know, I haven't mentioned in the last couple broadcasts that, yeah, of course, Gather the Crowd is available on Spotify, and my latest EP, called Just Play Music is also on Spotify, Apple Music, Rhapsody, Microsoft, what is it called? Microsoft Live? Whatever that new music service of theirs is. YouTube Music, it's everywhere. All right. Oh, that was the first stream you watched for me? Yeah, that was the very first. So technically, that was the first stream I ever did. Really, certainly on the Adobe channel, but really my first proper stream. I'd done some tests, but that's the funny thing is that was the very first stream. My setup was totally not. I mean, having never done it, I wasn't, familiar with all the chaos that can happen. It somehow went off well, but we did that whole live. That whole song was recorded live on the stream, and I did not have it set up like I have now. So how it even happened, I don't even know, because everything was happening on one system. So the streaming software itself, recording the stream. I had a secondary monitor, but it wasn't a monitor. I was using this thing here called Duet to mirror my screen to an iPad, which is very, very CPU heavy. All running on, all the media was external at least, but I mean, how that even worked at all, I don't know. The first video we saw with Jason was his chest hair disco bit. Oh, thank you. It's my legacy. And I'm proud. And thank you. In case anybody's wondering what they're referring to. So here, Pink Strip, if you want to put a Vimeo link in there. Or you can find it on my Vimeo channel. All right. Well, thank you. Yes, that was a good time. Really good time. Oh yes, if I don't play it at IVC, you'll do it sliced. Very nice. Very cool. All right, well, I don't see Rufus chiming in, so I think we're gonna get to work here on this. So let me hear where. Okay, that was more like personal voice. I get tired of hearing myself, dude. It's still got a coffee. Words of Elvis. Just one more. Just one more. It's a good little. Just one more. Just one more. Just one more. Just one more. In fact, one of my songs actually say that. One more. Is it Carrie Ann? I think so. Join us live on twitch.tv/Adobe for a 3-day design extravaganza from April 26th to the 28th. Nice. I like it. Join us live on twitch.tv/Adobe for a 3-day design extravaganza from April 26th to the 28th. All right, here, you know what? Here, Pink Strip, while that's happening. Let's see. I logged into Vimeo. So depressing. Okay. All right, you're gonna have to do it. I don't have it linked. Vimeo. All right. Someone can post a link to that if they want to. And that's how dubstep was born. That's right. All right, so I like this. So that's good. We'll keep that. Let's look at this. Let's listen to the second paragraph. Photoshop Hall of Fame award winner. Photoshop Hall of Fame. Photoshop. It's kind of high pitched, but that's okay. Photoshop Hall of Fame award winner Corey Barker will be creating incredible images and effects with Photoshop. It's okay. I think I might actually prefer the. Let's see. Join us live. Photoshop Hall of Fame award winner Corey Barker will be do it again. Photoshop Hall of Fame award winner Corey Barker will be creating incredible images and effects with. I kind of stumbled over that. Don't love that one. Okay, I think the first take of that was actually a little bit better. Photoshop Hall of Fame award winner Corey Barker will be creating incredible images and effects with Photoshop. Photoshop Hall of Fame award winner Corey Barker will be creating incredible images and effects with Photoshop. Yeah, you know what? I don't love the copy there. Photoshop award winner with Photoshop. That's not great copy. So Roof, if you're here, maybe we should rewrite that. I'm not going to write it on the stream. Illustrator Sophie Roach will involve audiences worldwide as she creates one of her beautiful and intricate images. That's good. I like that. All right. See how Synapse comes up with stunning motion graphics for a video stinger. See how Synapse comes up with stunning motion graphics for a video stinger. So that's okay, but I kind of rushed through for a video stinger. See how Synapse comes up with stunning motion graphics for a video stinger. See how Synapse comes up with stunning motion graphics for a video stinger. That one's better. All right. I'm gonna mark that. And I'm going to call that one, let's see, which one is this? Call this Synapse 1. And I'll take this one as an alternate. See how Synapse comes up with stunning motion graphics for a video stinger. It's actually not so much different. And this is just so that I can kind of reference them after. Alright, let's hear the end. This is the tag. Follow us on Twitch and learn from these masters and other special guests at the first Creativity 360 on April 26th, 27th, and 28th, only at twitch.tv/Adobe. You guys dig that? That one's not bad. Okay, we'll call that end. Okay, so. Pink, you're awesome. Thank you. All right. Yes. Okay, so let me go ahead. Let's listen to the first take also. I want to actually hear that one. Because that was, I liked that. But this is all marked up. So if I have to go with this, this is good. And until I get Rufus's final copy, this may change. But for the moment, that'll do. So let's take a listen. Hey, Grungy65. Join us live on twitch.tv/Adobe for a 3-day design extravaganza from April 26th to the 28th. So that kind of has a nice energy. Join us live on twitch.tv/Adobe for a 3-day design extravaganza from April 26th to the 28th. Photoshop Hall of Fame Award winner Corey Barker will be creating incredible images and effects with Photoshop. That's good. Illustrator Sophie Roach will involve audiences worldwide as she creates one of her beautiful and intricate images. Nice. See how Synapse comes up with stunning motion graphics for a video stinger. Follow us on Twitch and learn from these masters and other special guests at the first Creativity 360 on April 26, 27, and 28, only at twitch.tv/Adobe. Kind of like that. There's nothing wrong with that one. Admiral Shane, you've been watching since 2003. Ooh, wow. Whoa, dude. You've been around a long time. You've been with me a long time, huh? You're wondering if the Adobe Audition Realize Your Music Vision was available on Apple Music. Yes. So, interestingly, so those aren't. I never published those as songs, but they are available. Here, this I can link to because I am logged in there. So this is Behance. This is my Behance page, which, by the way, this is all. You can find this also if you follow me here on Twitch. Beetlejace. Links to all this is there. But if you scroll down through all of my projects, you'll actually see there's one here called The Theme Evolution, Cool Edit Pro and Adobe Audition. So for those of you Admiral's referring to, so the audio program Audition used to be called Cool Edit. I came from that company. We were acquired. And I always did a theme song in the early versions of the app. We don't have them anymore, sadly. But when you would launch the app, it would play this theme. So, and one of the taglines that I came up with was, "Realize your musical vision." When it was really, we were also targeting kind of more music than sort of broadcast audio at the time. It was like 13 years ago. Oh, wow, yeah, the videos for Total Training, those were fantastic. So anyway, you can get them here, and these are all, as you can see, they're all embedded from SoundCloud. Oh, and you know what? They recently changed. I got a notification from Typekit that they were having to update some of the kits, and they said, oh, your projects may reformat and change. I can see this looks different than I remember it looking. So I don't remember this looking quite like this. But here, if I just pause for a minute. This is fun if you guys haven't heard these. So, and I'll actually play, they're all short. They're just like seconds long. But the one that Admiral was just referring to, you've heard it here. I've played it a million times. This is actually the Audition 1.0 theme. So this is the first Audition, the first Adobe version of Audition, and this is what you heard when you launched the app. It launched in the multitrack and it played this.
This is take one, the Audition, and we'll roll.
Adobe Audition. Realize your musical vision.
All right, Sorry if that was a bit loud for you. It is rock. And then you've heard the other one before. This one here.
Adobe Audition 1.5. Realize your musical vision.
What did that comment say right there? Did it say I love you? I missed that. Anyway, and it has, I won't play them all because they're too loud, but you can go here and listen to all of these, even some of my, like the concept of the first theme song. So I have the Cool Edit ones in here and the audition ones, and the first audition one I actually used, it was originally going to be called I Hope We Pass the Audition. Like that was kind of my thing. I was thinking John Lennon and the Beatles, and I did a version with John Lennon's voice, which of course would never have come out, but it was just like a proof of concept before I recorded the proper theme, and that's it right there. So, yes, that one. Oh, yeah, you love that one? Here, wait a minute. You know, let me play the Lennon one, because that you will never hear that anywhere else. Hold on, I'm dropping the volume so you guys don't die. All right, that's like 3 dB down. So let's see. Check this out.
I'd like to say thank you on behalf of the group and ourselves. I hope we pass the audition.
Adobe Audition. Realize your musical vision.
Again, proof of concept before you just heard the proper one. So yeah. Yes. Exactly. Musical vision. So yeah, and this is actually what the when this is Cool Edit. This is my old screen. This is what it looked like when you launched. Oh, sorry, I can't move this window. I guess not. I move the whole thing. That's what it looked like when you launched the app. It doesn't look so different today, right? I mean, these buttons and things have changed, but kind of the same. And what was great about this, what users loved about this, especially if you were new to audio, let alone a pro, it not only showed you how like song construction and that stuff works, but it gave you an insight in like how, because all of these things had EQ on them. They all had, you know, different mixing parameters. You can see now these were the beginning of real-time effects for us, but you could see where real-time effects were used, where things were locked down. Remember, we pre-render some of the effects for better performance. This also was back when we had a fantastic looping engine, which sadly we don't anymore. So there were tons of loops in here, and it just kind of gave you an idea of how to like compose with loops, how to mix, how to assemble, how to color code. A lot of good like tutorial things just in the theme session, and we heard that a lot, and we did them for quite a few versions. And then Audition 1.5 was the last one that I did, and then they did one more. The team put one together because I was traveling a lot and wasn't really working so closely with the team, so they composed one for Audition 2, and then that was the last one. There were never any more. Wrong Lennon. Okay. So wait, I just said something about someone saying Lennon lives, right? How does it feel when I hear my older work back? Yeah, I mean, you know, it's like anything. Some of it I love, some of it I cringe, you know. I mean, the one with that weird, I don't know what I was doing. I was trying to do too much, too low, too weird. That's weird. But again, like the idea, what it became is pretty cool. So hearing the final one there, you know, as you've seen me before, a lot of this stuff happens. It just kind of comes out, and then I start doing it, and then it gets refined. So yeah, it's fun. It's you know, it's time capsule. And now that you mention that, only for the stream here. So how does it feel to listen back? How does it feel to look back? Are you ready for this? So we're gonna break the stream here for a second. So here, I'll show you 2 pictures. So how does it feel to hear yourself back? How does it feel to look back at yourself? So this is 1988. That's me and my sister. Damn Windows. Look at that hair right there. That's an interesting look. There's another one in here, that's embarrassing. Here, wait, check this out. This is hilarious. This is me in my first car. I have the same sunglasses almost. Look at here. That is a full-on mullet, friends. And that is a 1984 Honda Accord. So, yeah. So, hearing yourself back is one thing. Seeing yourself from years past, that's guaranteed. That's a good laugh. That's you want a stiff drink when you're looking through those things. So, Honda hype. Hey, Langs, how are ya? Nice. Look at my hair, right? I know. There's some other really bad ones in here. I have like a side ponytail in one of these. I will not show you that one. That is for damn sure. Yes, I did have a mullet. It was the 80s. It was the East Coast of the United States. And, yes. We were all in one accord. Very good, digital. Okay. I was Gandalf the Black, Sayavi. That's hilarious, right? It really is so great now. You know, it's funny. I just watched. I did like a Harry Potter marathon the last couple days. I was in a Harry Potter mood, and I was thinking of Alan Rickman. I was missing. It just got very sad out of nowhere. It just got very sad that Alan Rickman passed away. So I decided I needed to see some Snape, and in between those, though, I kind of bounced into Lord of the Rings and watched a little bit of Gandalf. So that's how those two are related. Sorry, it's two separate thoughts in my mind there. Okay. So Ian's saying, "Oh, you went to Miami in '89. You're a fan of Miami Vice." No one dressed like Sonny Crockett outside of a TV studio. You know, I'm gonna disagree with that one. Man, if you had lived where I lived, which was not Miami. I mean, I knew plenty of. I was a teenager, but there were plenty of dudes that age and older in like white suits with day glow shirts and things. Like that was definitely a look, no doubt. You know what I noticed looking back through all these old things? See, I went the other way for some reason. I was like into the super big, oversized clothes. So everything. I look at all these pictures that my mother found, and they're all from late '80s. Everything is 10 sizes too big. I don't know why I'm wearing clothes that are so oversized. Okay, so let's get back to this. That is a major joke, right? All right. So we listened to this one through. This one was actually pretty good. So what do you think? Should we use first one or second one? Let's listen again, and we'll decide. And we can leave the music because it's kind of like having music behind it, right? And while I'm doing that, actually, I can also start kind of auditioning some compression here. And yeah, you know what? I'll keep it native today. We'll use the native tube-modeled compressor. So let's take a listen to this. Let's start just like with a voiceover. And I'll set my attack to around, I should probably want a little bit faster. It's about 3 milliseconds. We'll do a 59 millisecond release. 4:1 should be good. No, we want a 4:1 ratio. And we're going to start the gain at 0. All right, let's play this back.
Join us live on twitch.tv/Adobe for a 3-day design extravaganza from April 26th to the 28th. Photoshop Hall of Fame Award winner Corey Barker will be creating incredible images and effects with Photoshop. Illustrator Sophie Roach will involve audiences worldwide as she creates one of her beautiful and intricate images. See how Synapse comes up with stunning motion graphics for a video stinger. Follow us on Twitch and learn from these masters and other special guests at the first
Did I snap? Oh, right, just before. Hear that? Mouth sounds.
Follow us on Twitch and learn from these masters and other special guests at the first Creativity 360 on April 26, 27, and 28, only at twitch.tv/Adobe.
It's okay. There I said 26, 27, and 28. Now I don't know if I need to say 26th, as we said before. That's otherwise okay. But do you notice already how nice it sounds with the compression, right? Now again, you can just look at this. Overall, the dynamics of this are very even. So whomever it was who was saying before, forgive me for forgetting. about not using pop filters, because if you do this a lot, you know how to prevent those. And similarly, if you are doing this kind of stuff, you should be able to kind of keep dynamics fairly even. And I've said this a million times too, and you've seen it. That is in fact the case. So the dynamics are really fairly even here. A couple of, again, transients that sneak through, as they will often do. But overall, the general program loudness is fairly consistent. The compressor is just going to allow us to thicken it up and even it out a little bit more. And yes, Langs and Pink, the 80s. Big hair, perms, neon, I know, double XL on a small frame. I know, it's all wrong, right? It is. I've said this so many times, and I will admit, for the longest time, I wrote off pretty much all 80s recorded music being a recording engineer, because really, 80, 81, where recording was as good as it could get. I mean, it peaked. It was amazing. It was perfect. Analog, 24 track, the mixing capabilities, even now, the vinyl production at that time was hit or miss because of available resources at that time in the world. But the actual recording process was it was just perfect. And then as you got into the early part of the 80s, you just started introducing early digital into the analog signal chain. And it just so many recordings are just unlistenable to me. Great songs, great performances, unlistenable because of the horrible recordings. And then, of course, when you get to the mid and late 80s, where they just did away with acoustic drums altogether, and you've got bad sounding, and not in a good dancey way, because that was like rock. It was horrible. Simmons drums, I mean, I owned them. They're terrible. And then you add the big hair, and then you add the fashion. Ugh, it's the worst. Now, I've started to reappreciate a lot of the music. Not the poorly recorded stuff, but some of the stuff that was still recorded fairly well. But the fashion, I know, I'm with it. I can't take it. It's embarrassing. It's hard to look at. I really want to share this picture with you, but it's so embarrassing. I don't want to show you my head. Just, this is my body. That's me wearing a Casio watch. Now, especially in those days, and that's with I had just gotten this gold record of Let It Be, some prized possession at the time. Especially then, I was a pretty skinny dude. Look at that shirt. You could see it. It's like 5 sizes too big for me. I mean, Hall & Oates. Yeah, Hall & Oates, such great songs. And some of the earlier 80s ones are okay. But some of them, the recordings are just so bad. What were people thinking, So, yeah. 12 cups of coffee. Hey, nice to see you. You were in fashion design school in the 80s. Oh, Pinks. Yeah, I know, right? And I guess we all thought that was awesome then. I didn't hate it then. But you look back. I know, and that stuff, it does come back occasionally, right? I was talking about this in the last stream, but I don't know why. Because it's not a great period for American fashion. Okay, so I'm gonna, let's just go ahead and we'll just save this. Voiceover TT for Twitch Takeover, because I can apply that to the other one as well, rather than just reset it again. So that one's okay. Let me we'll bounce over to the other take here. All right.
Join us live on twitch.tv/Adobe for a 3-day design extravaganza from April.
All right. So I'm going to copy this whole thing to a new file. And remember, I've got that synapse piece in there, which we can just replace. We can listen now and see if it really needs changing. I don't know that it does. And just listen to see how it sounds overall. All right.
Join us live on twitch.tv/Adobe for a 3-day design extravaganza from April 26th.
Oh, here. Let's do last applied rack. Oh, no, I don't want that. Let's go back to tube modeled compressor. Voiceover TT, that's the preset we just made. Let's take a listen to this bad boy here.
Join us live on twitch.tv/Adobe for a 3-day design extravaganza from April 26th to the 28th.
I like that already because it's got a bit more movement. The other one was a little slower, so I like this. This has got good pace.
Join us live on twitch.tv/Adobe for a 3-day design extravaganza.
Scotty Kid, yeah. I'm gonna agree with you there. Because the difference was, as bad as the recordings of a lot of that was, now that was also early sequencing too. think if you're into sequencing today, today at least, and I don't sequence, I play everything live, but at least today you do have like really good humanization. Quantization can actually be a bit looser. By the way, for those of you not familiar with those terms, so when you sequence or use MIDI to record synth and such, in the 80s, you would play something and then you had a function called quantize, which you still do, which automatically put all of your notes perfectly in time if you didn't play them in time. Genius. The problem is that they were perfectly in time, computer-like. So when a drum machine was playing a beat, like a tick 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 tick. Think of like what's that? Human League, right? Don't you want me? Which, by the way, is a great song. I'm not knocking Human League, but I'm saying the drum machine. There's like there's no variation. It is completely electronic. Blah, right? That's it, and that's fine. Today, though, like the drum machines, they can actually feel kind of loose. They can feel a little more organic. But the difference is then everything was actually manually programmed, and it was like, it was a huge composing process, and usually by really good players. And today, the playing aspect of it isn't there, and that's what I think I miss the most, the actual played stuff. So I agree with you. Right? Right. Yeah, it's so much has changed, But hey, things do change, and that's how it is. All right, so let's keep listening to this.
Photoshop Hall of Fame Award winner Corey Barker will be creating incredible images and effects with Photoshop.
That's good.
Illustrator Sophie Roach will involve audiences worldwide as she creates one of her beautiful and intricate images.
Yeah.
See how Synapse comes up with stunning motion graphics for a video stinger. Follow us on Twitch and learn from these Follow us on Twitch and on Twitch. All right,
so you can see it right there. A little bit of a plosive. It's not the P, it's the breath following the P. Like I probably lifted up a little bit. I was adjusting, and
Twitch.
It gave a little bit of a low end kind of. So Twitch. Can actually
Twitch.
come over here. Actually, I'll even get it from the very beginning.
Twitch.
Then we'll come up to Effects, Filter, FFT Filter. And we'll choose Kill the Mic Rumble. And you see how that waveform changed? Take a look right here. See that? I didn't even have to hear it to know when I'm looking at that, that's what that is. So when you smooth out those low-end frequency rumbles, right? And when you listen to this now, just back out a little bit.
Us on Twitch.
Okay, here's before.
Twitch and
You guys probably can't hear it with the music. Let me turn that back off. Someone said the other day, oh my God, I was editing, this is a week or two ago, and they're like, oh my God, if I had to, because I was looping something like that, and they're going, oh my God, if I had to do that, I would go crazy. And I laughed, and I didn't catch that until after the stream, because I wanted to say too, yeah, I mean, unfortunately, that's audio editing, right? It's a lot of, it's no different than the revisions that you do graphic design wise or illustration wise, where you're refining something, except here you're just, which is why if you look at a lot of audio editors, they often do voices and talk to themselves, because you're listening to voices back and front, reversed, looped all day long. That's not a slam, by the way, because I'm one of them.
Twitch and
yeah, all right. So let's redo the FFT
on Twitch and learn from
Very
these
smooth.
masters and other special guests at the first Creativity 360 on April 26th, 27th,
12
and
cups,
28th.
got it.
Only at Twitch.28th. 28th. Only at Twitch.tv. Only.
That's money right there.
Only.
See, that's the kind of stuff that I talk about when I often do voiceover recording techniques classes at Adobe Max, which is coming, by the way, in November. If any of you have heard of that before. Adobe Max is our huge creativity conference. Last year, the biggest one ever, 7,000 creatives from all over the world came out to LA. This year it's in San Diego, and but this is one of the very words and or phrases that I often talk about that people want, like that sound, this particular sound of only, that thing, that gritty, grungy thing, that just has to be there, It has to be in your pipes. There's ways that you can fake it with pitch shifting and stuff, but that's, and it doesn't happen every day, 3 o'clock today, my voice isn't going to sound like that anymore.
Only at twitch.tv/Adobe. Adobe.
Okay. All right, so I think actually this one is really quite good. Even the Synapse piece right here.
See how Synapse comes up with stunning motion graphics for a video stinger.
Does that bother you? Let me listen to that other one. Does that bother you? Is that what I just said? Is that guy bothering you? All right. Oh wait, no, it was in the same one. What am I doing? What am I doing? Let's go back over here. What's this one?
See how Synapse comes up with stunning motion graphics for a video stinger. See how Synapse comes up with stunning motion graphics for a video stinger. For a video. For a video stinger. For a video. 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 For a video sting. For a video. For a video stinger.
I don't think it really makes much difference. You guys have any preference there? I think it's actually okay.
See how Synapse comes up with stunning motion graphics for a video stinger.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay. You run a well-tuned sound card, which is probably why I picked up on it. Very nice, 12 cups. Yeah, me too. And that of course makes a huge difference too. One of these days we'll do like stop giving away the secret formula. All right, okay. You know what's interesting? I was also watching yesterday, I don't know if any of you guys like Elementary. Another actor whom I really, really love. And there was just actually I was watching an old episode. I was watching it on Hulu, and there's a scene where it's Sherlock Holmes, and he's going. This is the American. So this is not Sherlock. This is the with Benedict Cumberbatch, and Martin Freeman, which is so good. And I'm like waiting patiently for the next episode, which isn't until I think next January or something. Because they just did their kind of back-to-back 3 30-minute ones this past January. But Sherlock is saying in Elementary something. He's at a Narcotics Anonymous meeting, and he's saying how he's talking about how the meetings help him and how he hates the mundane repetition of daily life. But he's talking to someone afterwards, and he's saying, someone is sharing what he's been saying in these meetings online, anonymously, but sharing it nonetheless. And he's saying, I don't typically talk so freely about my secrets and the way that I do things, but I do here because it's supposed to be a safe place and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I don't know why that made me think of that. It just did. You're seeing what's happening in my brain. Nick Colia. I'm pretending like I'm reading what you wrote there, but I can't hear it. Quite a heavy T.
Adobe. Follow us on...
Okay. So, yeah, 9 variations on the same head to send to a client. Yes, that's it. Right? You got to have variations. So, here's the theme playing behind me right now. Okay, so I like this one. So this is what we're gonna use. I think this will be just great. So let's go ahead and we could do a couple things here. Now I'm gonna turn the music off briefly because I do want to deal with some of the background ambience that we are experiencing, which you can see very easily right here. Now, again, just to kind of let you know, I don't know how you guys are listening to me. Oh, and I should turn this back up now that we're not streaming music from SoundCloud. There's a lot of noise in the room with me right now. So here it is with my mic off. Totally silent. And so bear with me for a moment as I just listen. I want to be able to hear myself critically what this noise is that we're seeing there. So let's take a quick listen. And I'm going to highlight this, and then I'll let you hear it isolated. So hold on. All right, so this is obviously stuff that we want to get rid of. No need to be there. Now again, for the web, I wouldn't really worry too much about it, to be honest, but I don't want to start processing, adding effects, adding EQ, adding compression, especially when there's noise there that doesn't need to be there. Now the good news is, again, talking about frequency and how to preserve kind of the characteristics of a well-recorded voiceover, one thing that is very beneficial to us in this situation today is that there is no noise, virtually none, above 2K. Okay? And very little really even in the 2K range. Really, most of it lives, if we take a closer look here, I'm just going to zoom in like this, and zoom in like this. Most of it really lives, well, you can see there's a bit right there. That looks like I was moving around or something because that looks a bit unique. But most of it is below 2 kilohertz. That's what that sounds like. This is so close to me. Most of it's at 2 kilohertz, below 2 kilohertz. And then there is, in fact, a little low end, which is no doubt a direct result of, machines on the tabletop, hard drives moving. There's 4 hard drives spinning here. And you're getting some kind of low-end resonance, which you're not going to hear. You might hear a little bit. I mean, it's resonating at minus 54 dB, so you're not going to hear that. But it's there. And, as we increase this and make it louder and whatnot, it's going to get harder and harder to listen. I mean, it's going to get harder and harder to fix that if we start processing and over-processing this. So, all right, Pink Strip, have a good shower. As Tom Hanks said in a very famous quote from a very old movie, use soap. All right. King Siana, what's up? Pokemon. Bubble, 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 Kano. That's my sweet voice. Bubble, bubble. Okay, so we want to get rid of this stuff. Now, where we choose our sample matters entirely in finding something that is consistent. So here, sorry, I hate making those selections. You can actually hear me breathing here. If you take a listen, before the line right there, there's no breathing and then I breathed. So we wouldn't want to take a sample from there, right? Because that's going to get the breath in there. So this area here, this is very consistent. And this is where also it contains a little bit of that. Look at that. There's something resonating at around 1.1 K. All right. Let's move up a little bit here. Let's go right around 1.8. Thank you. Hey, Alberto Comper. How are you, man? Good to see you. I don't know that I've ever seen you on the stream before. Fellow Adobe master, Alberto. Great to see you, man. All right. So, this is where... Thank you, StarCrunch. This is where I'm probably going to take my sample from. So we'll capture a noise print here. And by the way, now that I've said that, I probably don't need to go all the way down either. And by that, I mean all the way down to 0. Oh, no, that's fine. Okay, there is a little subsonic something going on there. So we're going to get rid of that too. So we're going to capture our noise print, go into noise reduction, and that's why I've got the music off so we can really hear what we're doing. Select the entire file. Now, again, a lot of settings here. This stuff, I said before, it's below 2K, so that's good because most of your vocal fundamentals are going to be in that kind of 1K to 3K range, and that's really the noise that's the most difficult to remove. So the fact that there's not much really at all 1K and above, most of it's pretty much 1.6 and below, that's a good thing. That means it's not going to get in the way. We're going to have less artifacting. So a very quick thing just to keep in mind here, I've talked about this, I won't do a whole noise reduction tutorial, but again, do we want to decay, to attenuate that noise gently and let it decay based on the amplitude of the loudness of my talking, or do we want to subtract it very destructively? the former, not the latter, right? So if you're going to subtract, that's if you've got like low end, 60 cycle, 50 cycle hum, very low end, consistent low end rumble that you do not want at all. You don't want to gently attenuate, you want to get rid of it. That kind of stuff you will typically subtract. For everything else, you're probably going to use some spectral decay. So I'll set this to around 3%. I'll keep the standard reduction as 40 dB. I'll leave it there. And I'm just going to audition this real quickly and see how much noise. I'm guessing I'll probably do about 80% of noise reduction on this. Let's take a listen. And I'm also going to mute my mic in this process so that I can actually hear it without additional background noise, all right? Yeah, hey Grungy, it's funny. Yeah, so today in 1964, Beatles had 14 songs on the Billboard Hot 100, setting a new chart record. And last week, exactly a week ago, I think, they had, I don't remember, it was 12 or 13, but they had 5 in the top 10. Yeah, so cool. So it's great little grungy and Beetlejuice trivia there. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you, Minka Mate. Very glad I could provide some vocal accompaniment for you today. Just listening, chiming in, doing radio voiceover, radio. I was going to say earlier, actually, I was kind of wondering exactly what I was going to do on the stream, and I thought someone said a while ago you should just read the chat. So maybe we'll do that at some point. Damn, yeah, just read the chat, right? Thanks, Anthony. Yeah. You guys are awesome. I love that. I love hearing that. I really appreciate that. My voice thanks you. All right, let's take a listen. I'm going to mute myself so we can do some noise reduction.
Join us live on twitch.tv/Adobe for a 3-day design extravaganza from April 26th to the 28th. Photoshop Hall of Fame Award winner Corey Barker will be creating incredible images and effects with Photoshop. Illustrator Sophie Roach will involve audiences worldwide as she creates one of her beautiful and intricate images. See how Synapse comes up with stunning motion graphics for a video stinger. Follow us on Twitch and learn from these masters and other special guests.
There we go. Okay, so that's pretty good. Now there's still, I'm hearing a little bit of upper mid high-end noise, which is, again, selected separately by design, because if you're trying to denoise too many frequencies at one time, especially if they appear at different amplitudes, that can also sometimes yield some weird artifacts. But what you're going to see here, if we just do an undo, so again, pay attention in this range. You see we've got all those lines of noise. Remember, color is amplitude, so the closer it is to orange or yellow, the louder the amplitude. So a lot of this stuff down here it's not that it's loud, it's just loud enough for processing. And then the more that you get into purple, into black, the quieter the amplitude. That's why I said there's really nothing here. There's a little bit here. Over the broadcast, you're not even seeing so much. There is some stuff above 2K, just not much. And it's not really going to get in the way. So if I were to tackle some of that, which I might do now, we'll do that separately and very, very lightly, not aggressively. But these other things we want to tackle somewhat aggressively. So if we go back, this is before. Watch when I do redo noise reduction. Pay attention to the bottom right there. Right? You can see it literally scooped out all of that noise, but it left the voice intact. Now you're seeing a little bit of this down here. Again, little flutters. This is obviously, I must have like bumped the table. Oh yeah, these are little bumps at the table. It's not going to remove those because those were inconsistent. This stuff is attenuated nicely, and it got rid of that kind of low mid-range noise that we didn't want. Okay, now if I just wanted to do one more little subtle correction here. All right. You can kind of hear that. That was like ASMR. I was talking about that last week. ASMR, because I used to, well, it's been around far longer than the term, and I can't remember if I mentioned it or not, but I was really into binaural recording in the 90s, which was a process where you you use a special. It's actually a dummy head, like a mannequin head. And, different microphone producers make these. I think the one that we had was a Bang & Olufsen. And this head is mounted with special microphones in the ears. And the concept is, and it's been done since the 70s, it records sound as you hear it. So all these albums started coming out in the early 90s when this was kind of rediscovered again, of, people like walking around the head. And when you listen in headphones, you got to be in headphones. You really got this effect of space and kind of almost like a VR experience without VR. And a lot of it, though, was, of course, there was one particular industry that embraced this largely. You can imagine who. We won't need to say it. But a lot of it was, very close, very soft, close, soft talking, close, whispery sounds of your voice. There was a lot of that. And that's essentially one element of ASMR, right? Because you'd get kind of that wasn't making me tingle, by the way, but you kind of get that sort of tingly sensation on your head and your arms. And so sorry about that, King Siano, if that was too much. everyone at Adobe HQ right now is going, what's happening? Okay, let's take a quick listen to this. And see, now, for this, I'm going to increase my spectral decay around 6%. I don't need 75% reduction. And I will mute myself once again, just to clean this up a little more. Take a listen.
Join us live on twitch.tv/Adobe for a 3-day design extravaganza from April 26th to the 28th. Photoshop Hall of Fame Award winner Corey Barker will be creating incredible images and effects with Photoshop. Illustrator Sophie Roach will involve audiences worldwide as she creates one of her beautiful and intricate images. See how Synapse comes.
Yeah, magic. Okay, so now once again, can you see here that this is like almost entirely black, which means that we've attenuated all that noise into silence. We've brought it down into silence now when there's no talking. And in between the talking bits, you can actually see, if you zoom in, how it actually literally fades out. It fades to black, right? Goes from kind of reddish to purple to black, right? That's what spectral decay is effectively doing. And now this is a really beautiful, clean sounding voiceover. All right. Hey, TC, how are you? It makes you cringe, King. Yeah, I know. Some people love it. Some hate it. Yeah, in and of itself, see, here's the thing. This is what I've said about ASMR. If you want that sensation, that sensation is created for centuries by melody and harmony. If you've ever experienced music in headphones and there's combinations of melodies I could play for you that will just, you kind of get the oh face, because that's what it is. The whole whispery, soft talk, glottal sound thing. I don't know. It's fine, but it's not new, right? It's been around a long time. Comp took a bit longer than usual. Oh, that's good. All right, man. Thank you, iTorrent. All right, so we've got a really nice sounding voiceover here. Again, I was just going to show you kind of before and after visually, so you can get a good idea of the visual difference. So here, if we undo the noise reduction, and you can see just a little bit of the purple, you can really see it down here, right? So again, the bulk of that additional mid-rangey fan noise was between 2 and roughly 4K. We redo the noise reduction, and it's just gone. It's just gone, and it really, really sounds good now. Okay, nice. Okay, so now that that's all set, now we can start doing some of the other additional tweaks. Now, what I'll typically do is go in and start removing little breaths and things.
28th.
All right. What's also nice is, again, you can see here how it really it fades. It fades to silence
from April 26th to the 28th. Photoshop Hall.
All right. Super easy, super cool, super nice. Now, to get rid of these breaths, there's a number of different ways you can do it. I'm going to show you
Photoshop.
I'm going to show you my preferred way of doing it. move songs here. So under amplitude and compression, go into our fade envelope. And let's do a smooth fade in, okay? Now why I like this effect is, as you can see here, you actually have keyframe points, Bezier points that you can adjust. So this is like a sinusoidal fade in, but I can add an additional keyframe here. Oh, I've already got one right there, that's why. Just to kind of smooth this out even more, okay? Let's see if we can bring one more to pull this down. Yeah, like this. Okay, so it's really just going to eliminate that whole breath entirely, because you don't really need that there. All right, so we can. There's nothing to audition here because, well, I guess you could hear it before, and then with the fade. Right? Now, you might say, why not just go in there and silence it? You could absolutely do that. This is a little more gentler because sometimes if you just go in and silence something, you may not respect what's known as the zero crossing of the waveform. You could end up with a little click. So this is going to actually prevent that from happening. Both methods usually work. If I'm on a time crunch, I will often do it that way. But this is just going to be a little bit more seamless. So when you take a listen now,
April 26th to the 28th. Photoshop Hall of Fame Award.
It's like there was never any breath there, right? So here's before the envelope.
28th. Photoshop Hall of Fame.
And that was just my natural way of reading it, which anybody would do. Redo the fade envelope.
28th. Photoshop Hall of Fame.
Simple, right? Cool. Yeah, really easy. So that's a cool little tip if you want to just kind of create smoother fades.
X with Photoshop.
Yeah, now that P, I don't think that's a problem.
With Photoshop. Photoshop.
Yeah, it's not really a plosive. It almost has a slightly clicky percussiveness to it. So I will often go in here, if I just look at my declicker, let's go into light reduction and scan it. Yeah, it actually found it as kind of a click. So let's see what happens if I repair that, if it softened it a little.
Photoshop. Photoshop. Photoshop.
Let's undo.
Photoshop.
Yeah, it just took away a little bit of the harshness. And if I wanted to go even further, again, we could go back to FFT, kill the mic rumble. There really isn't any rumble here per se, but
Photoshop. Photoshop. Photoshop.
It just kind of smoothed it out a little bit more. So I like that, so that's good.
Illustrators.
All right. So here's another one. We want to get rid of this whole thing. I click. I smacked my lips. So we're going to get rid of that. Let's go back into fade envelope. It should have the same fade, and it does. Let's go ahead and apply that. Oh, and I missed the, sorry about that. Hold on. I missed my little... Why did that stay in there? That's weird. That shouldn't be there at all. That should be gone. Yes, apply. There we go. All right.
Illustrator Sophie Roach will involve audiences worldwide as she creates one of her beautiful and intricate images.
Nice.
See how
Okay. Sound of breathing. By the way, you see here, repeat command, last command. It's Command R here. I always forget that. I don't always forget it. I usually forget. I'm so bad with keyboard shortcuts.
See how Synapse comes up with
All right.
stunning motion graphics for a video stinger.
All right. You should like shooting models and creating unrealistic beauty standards. Now listening to this, people might stop breathing to have a great voice. No. I mean, well, yes, possibly. But here's the thing, of course. You know, editing happens, right? It happens everywhere. It happens in audio. It happens in video. It happens in imagery. And, you know, as someone who puts out commercial music, I'm also someone who does live recordings. So, as the George Harrison phrase goes, warts and all, in that I don't auto-tune. I leave it kind of as it is. But yeah, for these kinds of things, you can tweak. Now, that being said, a lot of times I leave the breaths in there, and you just bring them down. You know, this is going to have some kind of, I don't exactly know what music we'll use. Probably some kind of housey beat driven kind of thing behind it. So the breaths just kind of get in the way. but it's more about, I think, for anyone who does voiceover, it's just about giving yourself, the proper timing, right? So that you can actually fade it in or just eliminate it. I wouldn't want to say, no, don't breathe. Because you're right, it can get scary, Follow us. Like this one right here, follow us. I don't need to really take that out. Follow us, because it's little and small and kind of slightly off mic. Follow us on Twitch, but we'll hear, and if it bothers us, we can tweak it later. All right?
Only at twitch.tv/Adobe.
Okay.
Follow us on Twitch and learn from these masters and other special guests at the first Creativity 360 on April 26th,
See you, Rares. Thanks for stopping by. Theater Geek. Yeah, so, if you go back, they were recently highlighted, so they'll be, although they've been highlighting things, Kitty's been highlighting a lot of stuff, Dear Koyanji, so it may be harder to find. If you go back through some of my more recent streams, I did a 2-part series on voiceover. Processing, editing, compression, EQ, reverb. I might even be able to find them here real quickly. Let's see. That's me. Hold on. Wait. No. What am I trying to do? I'm forgetting what I'm doing. Why is it not going where I want it to go? Thank you. Here, let me see. Highlights. Just want to see if I can find them, because I saw them just the other day, and the image is like me in a hotel room. But it was a 2-part series, very comprehensive. Because it was like 6 hours of just voiceover, editing, and other things. Oh, I wonder if some of those changed, if the thumbnails changed. Seen a lot of Terry, there's me. Now, of course, I can't find it for you because I want to find it for you. And those, of course, are 2 that I have not yet published to my own YouTube channel. Arg! Oh, okay, there's one of them. No, that's not the right one. All right, dude, I'm gonna have to look for it. I just did them, and there's 2, and they're kind of back to back. They look very similar to that. I'll give it one more second as I'm scrolling through here, because I know what it looks like, and I wish if I thought about it, I could probably remember the date they were done. All right, I think for the moment I'm SOL. But remind me, come back to me, whisper me, and I'll find them. If you can't find them, I'll get them to you, like today. All right, I'm starting. Okay, here we go. Ha, found it. All right. Can I copy this link? Copy link address. And that's part 2. Okay, cool. So here you go. So voiceover, editing, and remix. Hold on, I'll copy this link address. Twitch. All right, I'm going to post this in the chat. So here you go. So voiceover, editing, and remix. All right. Hold on, I'll copy this link. Well, it's doubling. Here, I'll get the other one. Copy that link. There you go. All right. Okay. Now let's get off of me seeing myself. All right. Oh, and here, I'm going to hide that. That's fine. Okay. Back to what we were doing.
Follow us on Twitch and learn from these masters and other special guests at the first Creativity 360 on April 26th, 27th, and 28th, only at twitch.tv/Adobe.
All right, cool. Now, not knowing well, I saw the video that the intro that Michael and Rufus were making, very similar to the one that we had for the CC Animate launch as well as the XD launch. So, in theory, I could really just provide this voiceover as is, and I am in fact going to save out this version just like this, and we'll call this Creativity 360 Clean VO, and I'm just going to place this on the desktop. Okay, now this is because I don't know exactly what the timing is going to be, right? So they can they can modify these however they want. Now, I will process. Actually, I'll do a little more processing to this before it's handed off, i.e., compression and just a little bit of normalization here. So, but basically, this would be a deliverable right now minus compression. So the only thing that I would probably do if I were handing this off clean without effects is just compress it and send it off as mono. So let's go ahead and do that. Now we've got the compressor already running in real time for playback here. It's been playing, we've been listening through it the whole time. So if I were to actually apply this now, apply the compression, now you can see it really evened out those dynamics. Now I've got one little out-of-band peak right here that it didn't catch. Follow us on right, little sharp F transient, little stinker snuck through there. So I can simply highlight this, and I'm just going to manually attenuate that single peak right there, and bada boom, we are good to go. I want to try and keep everything around -9. Looks like everything is here. Perfect. Very nice. Go up to our amplitude statistics and scan. And look at that. We've got just about 9 dB of headroom. Perfect. No clip samples. If we were to actually go to broadcasting, broadcast TV or broadcast services, this is within legal limits for both the US and the UK. This also gives you an idea, by the way, because if you're looking at this, you're going, wow, it's like will involve audiences worldwide. You're peaking at -12 for most of this. Yeah, this is what legal broadcast audio looks like. All that other headroom there is to be reserved, right? And this is part of the loudness standards that all of the networks are starting to introduce across the world, because there's just been, it's been like Wild West up until now, where you've got, you know, loud content, soft content. I was, in fact, talking about Harry Potter, is watching one of the, I think it was Goblet of Fire. So that's, I don't know how many years ago it is already. Quite a few, right? I was on Blu-ray, but you know, and I those movies are, you know, they're faultless in my mind. But the audio mixing in some of these scenes, it was just, there was such a dramatic volume shift in effect, and this is always the case in movies anyway. But it was at home, you know, you experience this even more, especially if you're just watching on a TV. So, you know, the sound effects and all the music and everything was just so loud and dramatic, and the talking, it was not, you know, so you're constantly having to adjust. So this is what broadcasters are trying to fix, right, for like real-time delivery and even streaming as well. All of which we've now built into Audition, Premiere Pro, and Adobe Media Encoder, so that you can deliver legal broadcast-safe audio. Broadcast to the particular loudness standards for your region. Recently switched everything over to Mac. Just saw you export as WAV when recording video in Audition. Should I be exporting my AF? Yeah, no. So, Admiral Shane, great question. Actually, no one's brought that up in a while either. So yeah, you know, no, don't even bother with AIF unless it's requested. WAV is as native to Mac as it literally is to PC. You know, it used to be, I would even say 10 or more years ago, probably 12 years ago, like when you had Pro Tools really running the Mac world. And I think their default recording format even then was AIF. That's kind of where you saw it. AIF's, no, I mean, there's just no reason. There's just no reason. WAV is just as native. We'll create peak file, and it's very interesting. So the peak files, if you've ever seen an Audition, and by the way, these are the little the little media files that are created. I don't know where. Oh yeah, save peak files. Every time you make a WAV file, the reason they exist is to allow Audition to very quickly display the waveform. So they're basically a visual snapshot, a drawing of the waveform, so it can be displayed. We will create these automatically for WAV. We don't even create them automatically for AIF because I don't know if it's some limitation of how we access those files. We can't do those automatically. So they'll be built when you import them, but they don't get created and saved with the files themselves like WAVs do. So yeah, short answer, no, unless it's specifically requested. I work entirely in WAV and other formats too, but almost all the audio I see is WAV. That's the funny thing. I generally never see AIF files. Almost never. Not that they don't exist, just they're just not as common. And again, as people move from system to system, Not that you have problems playing AIF on Windows systems, certainly if you're using our software, but there are other like metadata considerations that don't carry over as easily with AIF that are standard in WAV. All right. And MP3, yeah, I mean, so Theater Geek, I mean, MP3 is fine for playback, certainly. I wouldn't want to work on MP3 files. So, and to Admiral Shane's question, so the reason why WAV and AIF are tied together as formats is because they represent uncompressed linear PCM audio. So they're both uncompressed. There's no compression. And I don't mean dynamic compression. I mean file compression, right? So everything that's captured is displayed. MP3 is a lossy format. You're throwing away frequency data. You're throwing away information to compress, to shrink the file size down. So if your master is MP3, you've already tossed away a whole bunch of frequency content that you simply can't get back. So while you can edit in MP3 and you can deliver and you can, do whatever you want with it, that wouldn't be a recommended production format. Make sense? Okay. Ah, you're very welcome, Admiral Shane. Ah, very nice. Good to hear it. Okay, so we've got compression on here now. We've got this looking very even. So now again, for Rufus and Michael's purposes, because I know that this will be going on the web and during our own broadcast, I'll probably bring this up to around, maybe -4. I mean, I don't have to slam it. Just make it a little bit louder, a little bit more present. I can do a quick fade at the beginning here.
Join us live on
A little fade at the end. Again, I'm just fading silence, really. All right, with these non-destructive fade handles.
/Adobe. TV/Adobe.
All right, where's the Twitch?
Twitch.tv/Adobe. Twitch.tv/Adobe.
Goes into silence, okay? Go ahead and save that. And now we've got a nice, balanced, clean VO. Okay, so this is what I will hand off to Rufus and Michael. Now, what I thought we would do now, exactly, Theater Geek, it's an exact comparison, JPEG to RAW. Exact same concept applies. And you've heard me say that a lot, right? That the imagery parallels to audio, they're very, very similar. You've got highlights, midtones, and shadows. You've got high frequency, mid frequency, low frequency. Represents your shadows, your midtones, your highlights. Visually looking at things, sonically looking at things, raw versus compressed, it's the same thing. We don't refer to audio as raw per se, but it's just uncompressed. So that's it. So your WAV and AIF files are uncompressed like raw files, and MP3, OGG, MP2, any MPEG variation, H.264, these are all compressed. These are all lossy. These are all the JPEG. I don't want to say the JPEG of audio. That sounds like it's a slam. But yes, they're the lossy formats, the compressed formats. All right. Yes, I'll tell you what. I actually learned Photoshop from a dear friend of mine, Michael O'Neill in the UK. 15 years ago, and it was the reverse. He was teaching me Photoshop from like, okay, so in audio we have blah blah blah. He was doing that, and that's kind of how I started to really understand levels and colors and those sorts of things, because that wasn't my background. So great similarities. Sliced, you are back. Good to see you. Good to see you. All right. So now, if I wanted to actually process this, and I always hand him off a processed version too. First thing I'll do is convert this to stereo. By converting to stereo, it just gives me more flexibility to apply stereo effects and have things kind of move in stereo space. And I don't even actually necessarily have to convert this to stereo if I want to have kind of compartmentalized versions of some of these things. And you'll see what I mean in a second. But let's just go ahead and convert the whole thing. We'll keep it at 32-bit float. We'll keep it at 48K. We're not going to dither because we're not changing the bitrate. And we're just placing the same content in the left and right channel. So this is technically a stereo file. It is also would be commonly known as a dual channel mono file because the same content exists in both channels. All right. Now, what I like to do, hold on one second. Fix this. Oh, I think I need more coffee too. As my hair looks grayer, it means it's time to dim the light. What I'll often do here is again start kind of thinking where I want to do some stereo processing, or to make something bigger, wider, more radio-like, more broadcast-like. So, if you listen to the intro here...
Join us live on twitch.tv/Adobe for a 3-day design extravaganza from April 26th to the 28th. Join us live on twitch.tv/Adobe for a 3-day...
So maybe we want the intro to be really, really big, So this is where we can do... You've seen me do it in a number of different ways. Again, something like the standard delay here. It's very busy music behind me right now. I wonder if I can route iTunes through something else. Because I can't believe that volume slider, it's this loudness and then silence.
Join us live on twitch.tv/Adobe. 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 Join us live on twitch.tv/Adobe.
All right. So again, here's before.
Join us live on twitch.tv/Adobe.
And then here's with a little stereo delay processing.
Join us live on twitch.tv/Adobe.
All right. Don't really have an audio equivalent to ping. Compressed and portability, but losslessly compressed. Yeah, so, I would say, now, not that it's used in the same way, but FLAC, sometimes the sound of my own voice bothers me. FLAC files, which are supported, kind of fall into that category. Oh, hey, AZ Talk Dog. Appreciate that. Yeah, thanks. Always trying to change it up a little bit. Yes. So thank you for coming by. And please follow me here on Twitch. I am Beetlejace for more audio, video, motion graphics, and random weird stuff from the archives. Yeah, so FLAC, I would say FLAC is pretty close to that, to ping. We've also got, nobody uses it so much anymore. But if you go into just our list of file formats here, so Monkey's Audio. If anybody remembers Monkey's Audio, if you guys ever did kind of high bitrate file shares and things, this was a popular format back in the day. Same kind of thing, basically lossless. But FLAC, I'd say, is the one. If anybody, in fact, when you go to the site, like there's a bunch of sites that distribute high bitrate masters of famous albums and stuff. They're generally always, I've seen some as WAV. Most of them are delivered as FLAC because they're a little bit smaller. They're functionally lossless, but they're actually technically compressed because they're smaller than, a standard WAV file size, 16-bit 44.1K stereo. So that's like your CD quality, iTunes quality. 16-bit 44.1K stereo is 10 megabytes per minute of audio. So a 3-minute song in an uncompressed WAV stereo at CD quality is 30 megs, okay? And then if you go from 16-bit to 32-bit, now it's 60 megs, right, approximately. And then if you go from 44 to 48K, now it's 70-something megs. And if you're delivering a 96K master, now it's 100 megs just for one 3-minute song. A FLAC can get that down to like, a third of that or something. So yeah, so FLAC would be, I think FLAC is a good example for the ping equivalent. Yeah, that's it, Warbird. They're just a little bit smaller. Again, it starts to make a difference when the files themselves get a lot longer. Then saving 50, 100, 150 megs here and there makes a difference. But they are the closest thing to that without having to deal with WAV. Yeah. Nice. Yeah, you can see. And again, it'll vary on the content too, right? That's kind of how that type of compression works. It depends largely on the frequency and the amplitude of the content that you're saving out or exporting to. So it can vary. It's not an absolute like WAV, because WAV is uncompressed. So again, 1 minute of stereo audio is always 10 megabytes at 16-bit 44.1 every time. But a compressed version of that in MP3 320 or AAC 256 or FLAC, they can change even as you add a second or more of audio to the beginning and end. Like it can change. It can be slightly different. Okay. All right. So let's just see what that sounds like if I were to stick that in there as an intro. All right.
Join us live on twitch.tv/Adobe for a 3-day design extravaganza from April 26th to the 28th.
All right.
April 26th to the 28th.
Maybe we do a little delay at the end of that, but let's do something on April 26th.
26th. April 26th to the 28th. April 26th to the 28th.
So for this one, I want to use actually some effects. So let's go into
Just roll it again.
Real ADT, stereo. All right, and try one of our presets here.
April 26th to the 28th. April 26th to the 28th.
Just a little bit bigger. Let's try a classic ADT. So it's automatic double tracking.
April 26th to the 28th.
A little dirty, kind of like that. Let's try a rock and roll stereo.
April 26th to the 28th.
Kind of like that. And that seems to be a little bit hotter, but there's also some analog drive on here. All right.
28th. 28th. 28th.
And maybe we'll add some delay on this.
28th.
28th. All right. So we'll go into our analog delay for this. And before I even get there, let's turn the trash down. Trash affects the high frequency roll off. Keep this at around 116% spread, maybe a little more wet output signal. And we're just trying to delay the very end. Lollylol, yes.
28th. 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 28th.
Let's turn off the music for a second. See if the balance is okay.
28th. 28th.
Kind of analog.
28th. 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 28th.
Perfect. All right. So let's take a listen to that real quickly. Put the music back on.
Join us live on twitch.tv/Adobe for a 3-day design extravaganza from April 26th to the 28th.
Right, now again, they'll be cutting visuals in and out of this. So Michael might even overlap as that's 28, delaying. The next audio might happen. So that'll sound kind of nice.
April 26th to the 28th.
All right.
Photoshop Hall of Fame award winner Corey Barker will
All right. And I'm actually listening as I'm hearing that now. There's a little bit of a thud in there. Let's take a look at that spectrally. Yeah, there's a little thud right there. So let me see if I can just zap out that thud. All right. Without even using the remove the rumble.
Corey Barker.
So here we go. Before. So in the, I don't know why, a little what's happening there? Corey. But if you're listening, you can actually hear a little when I say Corey, and it's not the C that's doing it; it's the breath afterwards.
Corey.
And then if we redo.
Corey.
Done. And friends, again, if you look, let's go here. What did we do? I actually cut out. I mean, this is where, again, you're painting on sound here. There's the reason this is called sound and vision, right? I visually saw where that thud was. I could see that it was right at around 60 hertz. Again, that kind of low-end fundamental there. And just zapped it out. And it's not going to affect any of the other frequencies here. It's still going to sound normal, easy, kind of keep moving on. All right?
Barker will.
All right. Yes, Lully Lull, that is nice. The default plugins are largely really, really awesome. Oh, and thank you, Luheezy, I appreciate that. I feel like sometimes I narrate a little too much with the explanation, but I really appreciate that. And the more of that you want, let me know, and I'm happy to do it. So, sliced. Yes, we may just have to play that on the stream. So let's see, Warbird Games. You've got a plugin. Used everything from old sound editors. Oh, that's awesome, and I'm with you, man. I began digital audio in Sound Tools, which became Sound Designer, which became Pro Tools, in 1991. So I've been and done and gone through all the paths of them. And despite working for Adobe, even in the late 90s, as I owned a Pro Tools system, but I was editing a lot of stuff on my friend's PC, because I was Mac at the time and then went to PC for a while. In Cool Edit 96, because the editor was just so much just better. I mean, and I still say it. Look, Pro Tools, all of those, super capable, great. We're not fighting each other anymore. These apps can all complement one another, or they can be used independently. But as an audio, just hardcore editor, this one is fast and fluid, and it just does it.
Corey Barker.
All right. And the accuracy of making selections and zooming.
Corey Barker.
I really I don't see that in a lot of other apps at all. So let's try something a little different for Corey. So if we go into modulation, maybe we'll do a flange on his voice here. It's something like a Haight Ashbury. So this can be a pretty heavy modulated flange.
Corey Barker.
So the rate here, it's too much. Yeah. Sorry, drag that out too much.
Corey Barker.
Not bad, maybe a little bit more phase. It's just, what was it?
Corey Barker.
All right. Let's see if 100%.
Corey Barker.
All right. Yeah. That's doable.
Corey Barker.
All right. Wicked sound editing sorcery right there. Right on. Oh, did I just undo my selection? Son of a gun.
Corey Barker.
Son of a nutcracker.
Corey Barker.
All right, Corey Barker. And then let's see if we even go a little bit further and do this wide delay.
Corey Barker.
Yeah, see, that's kind of, the stereo is getting a little weird there.
Corey Barker.
So maybe I'll just do a little bit of, I just want a little bit of drive. So I'll go into, again, I use a lot of plugins. I try and use native wherever possible, but sometimes you just need a plugin.
You do.
Now, just to point out, by the way, should you want to do like distortion effects. So we have our own built-in distortion with some various presets. You can see there's like tape drive. These are, they're good. They sometimes sound a bit, well, let's see here what this default sounds like. I'm curious. You may want to just bear with your ears for a second here.
Corey.
Sorry. All right. See, I was afraid of that. Some of these are a little too much. Everyone just went deaf. Sorry. Tried to warn you. They can be a bit much. So you just have to be careful and usually tweak them from scratch to get a better result. Some of those presets I find are a little too heavy. For this, however, let's do a little bit of male vocal saturation. That's what I was looking for. Wow, and that's a little.
Corey Barker.
All right. Let's decrease our amplitude.
Corey Barker.
There's our before.
Corey Barker.
And our after.
Corey Barker.
All right, we've also got a little bit of too much high-end tonality on here.
Corey Barker.
That scared you, Mink Mate. I'm very sorry. I should have given you a little more warning. I knew it was going to be, I could see on the graph, I'm like, oh man, this is going to be, it's going to make people need to change their pants.
Corey Barker.
All right, I like it. And we'll just drop the amplitude a little bit so it fits in with everything else. Let's wind back.
Photoshop Hall of Fame Award winner Corey Barker will be creating incredible images and effects with Photoshop.
All right, maybe we do another one.
Photoshop. Photoshop.
A little bit of decay on there could be kind of nice. So let's go into one of our native reverbs here.
Photoshop. Photoshop.
Okay. Now, we want to keep it kind of bright. So we've got a lot of presets here. Typically, I'll go into something like a vocal reverb, which these are simulating reverb plates. So, what? It sounded just like Barbra Streisand. Duck sauce? Let's see. The large might be a bit too much. I'll keep the dry at 100%, and I always like to adjust the wet. So see how much decay we want. Or start dry at 0 and increase the wet until you get the decay that you want. Now, this is a huge room, as you can see that it's room size in this case. It's, again, plate density, I guess, would be the more appropriate term, because this is kind of simulating a vocal plate. But in this preset here, but the decay, it's like 5,000 milliseconds. So it's a 5-second decay. That's a lot. We don't need quite that much. So I'll probably turn this down to around 4. And then we'll use the wet balance just to kind of control how much of that you're hearing after the fact.
Photoshop. Photoshop. Photoshop.
Yeah, see, and it's almost a little too, because of the damping. I don't love that. Let me see. Let's try this hall. This one might actually just work better for the style of my voice over here.
Photoshop. 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 Photoshop.
Okay, now there's too much decay there, so we'll bring that down. Around 4,000.
Photoshop. 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 Photoshop.
All right. Photoshop.
Photoshop. Photoshop.
And I'm solely doing this because these things may overlap, so this might create for some nice transitions.
Photoshop Hall of Fame Award winner Corey Barker will be creating incredible images and effects with Photoshop. Illustrator Sophie Roach will involve audiences worldwide. Sophie Roach will involve Sophie Roach.
All right. So that sounds okay. Let's go to Sophie now.
Sophie Roach will Sophie Roach 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 Sophie Roach.
All right, Sophie Roach. All right, so here maybe a little bit of some very fast delay on Sophie. Let's see what that sounds like.
Sophie Roach Sophie Roach Sophie Roach Sophie Roach Sophie Roach Sophie Roach.
Kind of like that as a test.
Illustrator Sophie Roach will involve audiences worldwide as she creates one of her beautiful and intricate images. Illustrator Sophie Roach will involve audiences worldwide as she creates one of her beautiful and intricate images. See how synapse.
All right, synapse.
Synapse. Synapse. Synapse.
All right, nice.
Synapse, 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 synapse.
Okay, this one's got to be something kind of epic. So, once again, I think we'll go into waves here. All of these things moved recently, so I keep forgetting it's in modulation where these are. Let's use ADT too. All right. All right, Photoshop Corey Barker. Yes. Reduce the high frequency a little on that one. Okay. Oh, in the reverb. Yeah. That's what I think. I think in the I think the hall. I don't know if that. I'm just seeing that now. That was why I switched to the hall, because the plate, it was just too bright. Ian. Yes. Okay. Yes. All right. Let's hear this now.
Synapse, 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 synapse.
All right. So what I might do here. Now this is where, and I'm making this. And by the way, here, let's go ahead and save this as this isn't clean VO. This is effects VO1. This is where sometimes I might bring it into the multi-track because I might want effects to decay beyond the selected range. So, and I could have been doing this all along, of course. But if we bring this back in here, this also, by the way, will allow us to cut up the sections a bit more. Remember, they're going to cut this up anyway. I made markers for Michael and Rufus. They're going to place these wherever they need to go. So that's why I left, enough natural breathing space in between each of the sections so that they have plenty of room to cut between. But for this one here, Synapse.
See how
Whoops, let me mute all that.
Synapse comes up. See how Synapse.
And wow, it really is sounding nice. And oh, and I've got new gen on there, that's why. I think I might take this, put it in its own track, and affect it a little bit differently, okay? And this is a cool thing that you can do, again, if you want to kind of get a little more creative with the effects and the decay of how certain things work. So sometimes it's easier to come in here,
Comes up with
make your selection.
Synapse. 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 Synapse.
So I can copy this to a new file if I want, or even easier, just mark it. Let's copy it to new. It'll come in as Untitled 2. Grab Untitled 2, and now I can kind of snap that to the marker. See how it's snapping to the edge there? So now I know these two things are in the same place, in the same position.
Synapse.
All right. Let me go ahead and turn off new gen here. All right, and for this, I'm thinking I want to use a bit of that ADT that you just heard. Yep, a little bit of glitchiness, exactly. You heard me exactly as talked of. That's exactly it. Oh, you like those flutes, huh? I don't remember what we were just listening to. Yeah, those actually. I think the last one you were hearing, I think that was Ocarina. That's all from this Jumping Buddha album that I produced. Gosh, 16 years now. A long time. Okay, what were we choosing here? Let's see if the driven vocals one sounds pretty good. That might be. Sometimes that's a little too heavy. Let's see. Synapse.
Synapse. Synapse.
Why is it cutting off? Did I not? Huh?
Synapse. Synapse.
Synapse. Perfect. I didn't select the whole thing. Smart dude. Not a problem. Let's just grab more of that. Copy more of it in.
Synapse.
Still, it's kind of cut off.
Synapse. Synapse.
What am I doing?
Synapse.
Oh, duh. I'm not paying attention. You have to use your eyes to make selections. Yes, I did. Oh, thanks. Yeah, this is a long time ago. Yeah, so it's well, it was recorded in San Francisco, but it represents music from China, from Tibet, from from Vietnam. In fact, one of the first tunes I think that was playing before, it's called the English translation is Vietnam folk, but yes. So yeah, very good. I don't even know if this one is still available. You want to make a real quick edit? Very funny. Synapse, 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 synapse. Very cool. Hey, Crazy Gamer, glad to hear you're learning something. That's awesome. Sweet. Okay, so let's hear now.
Synapse. Synapse.
Okay, now that little at the end there, no problem, because we will just tail that.
Synapse. Synapse.
A little bit more.
Synapse.
All right. And remember, we're going to have the other stuff going on here as well. So that's pretty good. Do we like that?
Synapse.
It's kind of nice and dirty. Let's see, extreme grime.
Synapse. Synapse. Synapse.
That one's a little too dirty. And let me try the rock and roll. Rock and heavy and phasey. Oh, that's mono. Okay, we don't want that. Let's try phasey stereo.
Synapse. Synapse.
And let's try the, what was it? 2 driven vocals.
Synapse.
Yeah, I like that. It's just kind of dirty. So let's grab that. And we'll grab some delay. And we'll go back to around 290. Let's hear this now.
Synapse. 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 Synapse.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. All right, I'm going to make this fade a little bit more linear.
Synapse. Synapse.
Nice. All right.
Synapse. Synapse.
Cool. All right. Hey, well, thanks, Crazy Gamer. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to make it, as you watch me do these things, I say it all the time, too. I like to use these streams as times to experiment and really let you see the madness, the amount of experimentation that I will do with these things, Like I said, when deadlines are involved, things happen way quicker and often way more destructively, especially with edits and things. But when there's time and when we've got captive audience, it's fun to experiment because then you can really see the process and how it kind of plays out. So what I will probably do here, because these two would theoretically be doubling at the same exact time, would be to drop the amplitude in this section right here. Whoops. Just a tad so that we don't... I don't mind it being a little louder here. I just don't want... I don't want it to double the loudness, even though it's got effect, so it's not a straight double, but you'll see what I mean in a second. So let's take a listen now.
See how Synapse comes up with stunning. See how Synapse comes up with stunning.
Yeah, see, it's nice. And here, I mean, I could even probably use a little bit more of that wet output, because you're starting to lose some of the decays in there.
See how Synapse comes up with stunning.
Right?
See how Synapse comes up.
I'll turn the music off. Now there'll be music behind it, so it's just meant to be. It's just meant to fill that space a little,
See how Synapse comes up with stunning motion.
All right, so it's kind of nice. And similarly, what did we do here?
Illustrator Sophie Roach will involve audiences worldwide as she creates one of her beautiful and intricate images.
See, I really should have done that for all of these. I like the decays.
Sophie Roach will involve. Sophie Roach will involve. Sophie Roach will.
So I could do that again here on Sophie if we wanted to. All right.
Sophie Roach. Sophie Roach. Sophie Roach. Sophie Roach. Sophie Roach. Sophie Roach. Sophie Roach.
All right. So let's close this analog delay. Put that back on. So here what I'm going to do, so I don't have to leave the multitrack, I'm just going to split this, grab my option key, and just drag it down, so now I've got a duplicate of what you just saw there. All right. These are Sony MDR 7506. That'll give a good contrast to some layered overlap on the tail. Yep, exactly. And I'm going to use the same... Now, I have it on the same track right now, so this is going to double the same delays. So if we play this now, let me take the selection off of here. All right, and I'll do the same. I'll drop this volume down about 3 dB. Take a listen to this.
Illustrator Sophie Roach will involve audiences. Illustrator Sophie Roach will involve audiences. Illustrator Sophie Roach will involve audience.
And if I turn off the music so you can hear the decay.
Illustrator Sophie Roach will involve audiences.
Roach. It's just subtle, It's just kind of lingering there in the background, but it sounds nice. It's going to sound good.
See how Synapse comes up with stunning motion graphics for a video stinger. Motion graphics for a video stinger.
And if I don't know what the visual looks like yet, but here I'd probably have some kind of sound to accompany that video stinger. Right? I would often even record myself going because that's the sound I want. Have you ever tried to look for a sound effect and you're like, if it could just go oh, why not just use that? Again, sound. We sound people.
The sound people travel in single file to avoid their numbers. To hide their numbers. Not avoid.
I screwed it up. Ah. All right.
Follow us on Twitch and learn from these masters and other special guests.
Play Cory Barker? Okay, sorry.
Photoshop Hall of Fame award winner Cory Barker will be winner.
Now, by the way, I haven't done any of those recently. I think that was an earlier stream, maybe in October, where I did how to do the Cory Barker, like those stuttery kinds of effects. I'm not going to do it now because I don't, that's very radio-ish, and it works. And again, I don't know what the visual's going to be, so I don't think we need it to be like. But if they were going to do Cory Barker with like images landing on the screen, very simply, a really quick and dirty way to do that is you find the first consonant, and then you adjust a selection length of how you want it to sound. So if you want it to be, this is also why we've got the pop filter, so now I'd be spitting all over the mic. Cory Barker. Or, if we want it a little less, Cory. And you just do what I showed you before. You can either split, and so if I were to split this right here, Alt, drag this out. Now I could just, I could loop this little piece right here. Oh, sorry, no, that's not what I want to do. Undo that. Right click and just copy several of these together. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, like this. And right click treble. All right. All right, copy here. Take all of these. All right, and let's just say that I wanted to move this over. Let's pretend this audio is not here right now. I'm just going to silence it. All right. And then you'd have this.
Cory Barker.
All right, that was quick and dirty, but you get the idea. If you want to, that's how those things are done. Non-destructively to multitrack. You just find the consonant, cut it, duplicate it or loop it, and then stick it at the front, and then you'll have that kind of
Cory Barker.
Remember, that's got all these effects on there, so if I turn these effects off, you'll just hear it clean.
Cory Barker.
Okay, and then we put the effects back in there. So that's why you heard it with all the effects on there.
Cory Barker
kind of softens the attack of those, which we don't necessarily want. All right, so we'll get rid of that. Okay. And can I rejoin this? It doesn't rejoin, huh? I thought I could rejoin that. Reveal. Guess not anymore. All right, that's fine. Doesn't matter if it's split or not. Something like that would make a nice emote. All right. What mic am I using? Flipsy Casper. This is an Audio-Technica AT4050 multi-pattern condenser. XLR microphone, so it's not a USB model. Although I am quite fond of the AT2020 USB condensers. They're very, very nice, but this is my vocal mic of choice, and I've used it for a long, long time.
Follow us on Twitch and learn from these masters and other special guests at the first Creativity 360 on April 26th, 27th, and 28th. Only at
I should have slowed down a little there.
These masters and other special guests at the first Creativity 360 Creativity 360. First Creativity 360 on Creativity 360.
Okay. So you can already see what I'm doing here, right? So we're going to separate this. Cut it out. Oh, nice. Yeah, the 2020 is a great one. I recommend that to all my fellow streamers and just people who make music. And both the standard XLR and the USB ones are really nice. It's a nice capsule. I'm just a fan of Audio-Technica. I've talked about this a lot, again, at Max, where I do like voice recording classes and stuff. And as I was talking about Harry Potter, I often reference it to the magic wand deal, where it's, the wand chooses the wizard, Harry. The microphone kind of chooses the voiceover artist. My voice on there's another mic, another condenser that's similar in price and stuff to this one, called the AKG C414. Very famous. I think Jay Leno used to use that on The Tonight Show. But it's been used everywhere, but I'm just trying to think of where you may have seen it. It's kind of I can't really describe the shape. It's sort of rectangular-ish. That's hard to describe. Anyway, love this mic. On my voice, I sound like a brittle... It's awful. I sound so thin and brittle and harsh that I had bought one years ago and was so depressed when I actually recorded myself with it. And I was trying all these other things to make it sound good. It just didn't work for my voice. My voice has a lot of low... I have a very low voice, but it has a lot of upper, mid, and high-end... call it peaks. So there's certain frequencies and things that I say that just are over-accentuated by that mic. And it didn't do it. And that's it. Some mics were... But the 2020 I've found... And audio-technica does a really good job of this. But the 2020 I found it really... It's a beautiful condenser, but it sounds good on almost everybody I've ever heard. Anthroptics, how are you?
Creativity 360. Creativity 360.
Yep. You recently bought the Rode NT USB. Not that expensive, but yeah. I mean, a lot of people love the Rodes. Again, they've really come a long way in the last couple of years. There's what was I going to say about that? There's a whole variety of the Rode mics now, and they are definitely great bang for the buck. MXL is another one. Again, I think those two, because a lot of those are trying to mimic higher end microphones. That's another good example where they kind of sound good with everybody, with everything, but it's still the same applies. The wand chooses the wizard.
Creativity 360. Creativity 360.
So, I saw someone just say it here. How about repitch time stretch? That's exactly what I'm doing. So, let me copy this to a new file.
Creativity 360. Creativity 360.
And we'll go into time and pitch. We use our stretch and pitch. And we're just going to keep the same duration, but repitch it down just a little to give it a... And we'll double this. Actually, maybe I will adjust the duration a little, now that I say that, just to kind of slow it down a little bit. Let's see what that sounds like.
Creativity 360. Creativity 360. Creativity 360.
Making it faster. Duh, I always do that. I'm going the wrong way.
Creativity 360. Creativity 360. Creativity 360. Creativity 360. Creativity 360.
All right, let me see just a little bit more.
Creativity 360. Creativity 360.
Got a little robotic there. Now this is pre-rendered, so that can also... let's do 1.25 semitones.
Creativity 360. Creativity 360. Creativity 360.
That's okay. All right. And you can see the original duration and the new duration. I mean, it's a minimal change here. Could probably even go up to 115 or so.
Creativity 360. Creativity 360. Creativity 360.
All right. I think I liked it around 110.
Creativity 360.
All right. So go ahead and apply that.
Creativity 360. Creativity 360.
And I will top and tail the beginnings and endings here just to clean this up, because we'll bring it into the multi-track, fly it in, and probably add some... Maybe I'll even use that same delay and width, because that works. And again, it'll provide a little bit of consistency for everything. And I'll save this piece as Creativity 360 slower. All right. Go into our multi-track. Again, we'll set a little M here for a marker. Now, I'm actually going to split this because I am in fact going to take this little piece out of here. So let's move this up to this track for the moment. And also, here's another little thing. If you're afraid that you might move something and accidentally screw up the timing, you can just choose to lock it in time. And then it'll maintain, no matter where you cut it from, it'll always maintain the same linear time. Okay? Caught a ghost voice on recordings, Anthroptics. You know, it's funny you mentioned that. We are Audition. We don't talk about it. Although we did once not long ago because of one of those ghost hunters or ghost rider shows. So have I? Not so much. However, I have done like late night desert recordings, and there's all kinds of creepy stuff in very high frequency that you can find and pull out. But proud to say that Audition and Cool Edit before it is, I believe, still the #1 app for ghost hunting and capturing sonic strangeness. Why, you ask? Because for the longest, since the beginning, we've been able to capture free sample rates well beyond, you know, so your standard sample rates today, 44.1, 48K, 96K. Now your devices are going 192K. There's also 384K, 760, and it goes, you know, we go all the way up to 10 megahertz. So in like scientific labs, this app was used years ago because we could handle sample rates that no one else could. And as a result, a lot of the sound experimentation communities really adopted it. So yeah, kind of cool. Little. Can I headbang to the Creativity 360 voice? Yes, give me a moment and I will do it. Legacy of Pi, how are you? Very nice. Oh, and Flip, you've got the XLR one. So, you know, and I say it too. I prefer the XLRs. The USBs are great. It's just you don't have as many settings and controls, obviously. And of course, I'm going through a preamp stage here. They're both great, but yeah, that's why I use XLR too. So for that very reason. So nice. Next, everybody, what's microphone for laptop? Paul Weaver. So it's I'm not so familiar with the super inexpensive ones. I mean, already the Rode and MXL, I mentioned those. I believe they've got a couple of those that are kind of sub 50, 60 pounds or so that are they're all fairly good today. That's the thing. It's not like even 10 years ago where the gear that you'd get for your PC, we were kind of still in the Sound Blaster era then. So, for every Sound Blaster and all of the various options you could get on a Sound Blaster, they were still Sound Blasters. I never had a Sound Blaster that sounded great. They were all okay. And there was this huge divide between, 150 quid and below and then 600 plus. That divide is really narrowed now. So, I would say if you can find something that's, 50, 60 range, see if you can give it a try. Again, it's really going to depend on your voice, right? So sadly, I don't really have a great recommendation for you, but there's a lot out there now. And really, most of them are very, very good and certainly passable. And I'll tell you what, the nicer thing about some of the Rhodes and the MXLs that are they look even like Neumann mics, they're trying to look like these $5,000 microphones. They're also kind of trying to mimic the sound, which is typically, unlike 10, 15 years ago, where seemingly all the stuff was just kind of bright and harsh. They're actually a bit warmer, Some people even complain that like some of the Rhodes they're too warm. There's not enough clarity, even though they're technically condensers. So that can actually play into your favor, again, based on, if you're just going straight into a laptop or whatever. But check it out. I'm sure there's people here who could recommend. Yeah, Foul Pals. You remember those Sound Blasters? Sound Disasters. They were great because they were like the only kind of plug and play Windows card, but you had like 1/8-inch inputs. And then I had one of them where you could get the little module for your, right? It came off of the card, or maybe it was a separate PCI slot that had like a 1/4-inch, 1 1/4-inch input and one RC or stereo RCA and something else. Yeah, they were fine. I mean, they kind of served the purpose at the time. But today, there's so much better stuff out there, and really for better better recordings. What's the music in the background? Yeah, it's a combination Anthroptics. It's all stuff that I've recorded and produced that is not available commercially anymore, or never was, which is why it won't get silenced on Twitch. So that's why. So these are all this. It's picking today a lot of songs from this traditional Asian conglomeration record that I made called The Jumping Buddha. In fact, here I was just talking about it before. This one's called Tibet. This is actually one of my favorite tunes off this record, and you can hear me doing the hum chant in the background. Pretty neat. And these were all live performances recorded in studio, and then some things overdubbed after. But the band, which is Hammer Dulcimer, Arhu, tabla, bells, was all captured live. So kind of neat. Sound blasters blasted through your ears. Ooh, the Voodoo graphic card. What is this? Sleeper Kaka. We are doing some voiceover, and I was just about to insert a piece that I slowed down. You can see the difference in duration right there. Grooving over here, very nice to hear. Star Crunch. Freeware programs for recording, that I cannot flip. I would recommend getting a free Adobe ID if you don't already have one, and you get Audition for 30 days. You know, there's a lot of them out there. It's just going to depend on what you need, but yeah, I don't know that market so much anymore. But again, if you don't have an Adobe ID already, Audition is, you can try any of the CC apps. It's 30 days from the time you open them, not from when you get your ID. So give it a shot, Some people like editing audio in Premiere too. GarageBand. Do I have experience with the Rode NT1A, and if so, how do I like it? So I don't know if the NT1A, the original Rode NT, yes. I don't know if the 1A is the same or if that's a newer variation. Again, I didn't love it for my voice, and as I was saying before, you really have to find the microphone. If this is something you're going to do a lot of, find the mic that really suits your voiceover. My colleague Terry, he was looking for a new desktop mic for his videos and things, and he wound up choosing. We were talking about stuff, and he wanted like a USB, and I said, Apogee. He had asked me about Apogee, and I've been using Apogee converters forever. And at the time, I hadn't even heard it, but I said, Apogee. They make their whole thing was A to D, D to A, analog to digital converters. I said it's got to be high end, if anything. And I read the spec, and I go, for your voice, it's probably going to give you enough clarity, but also a little bit of warmth. And he tried it, and it was like, dude, where's this been all my life? It's that kind of thing. So the Rode, it's a very nice mic. I didn't love it for my voice, but it worked out well. Now, having said that, the old Rode video mic, which is mono, hot shoe mounted, I did a lot of secondary voiceover recording with that, and for whatever reason, that one tended to work really, really nicely, even going direct into camera, which is shocking, which are often kind of a little brittle because the A to D conversion inside your camera, for audio is kind of and it's already 16-bit, so it's not going to be awesome. That combo, though, worked for me. So, yeah, you just got to give it a try. The ESI Julia. Oh, wow, I don't remember that one. Was the reverb in the recording natural or a plate? Yes, Lolly, it's a plate that we added here.
First Creativity 360 on April 26th.
All right, that might be too much. So we were just listening to that now. So we've got the new Creativity in there.
At the first Creativity 360 on April 26th, 27th, and 28th.
Yeah, it's too much. So let me just place, I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to copy this same bit. It's already in time. Let's not use this effect here. Let's make a new track. I'll lock this in time. And let's maybe go back. We'll go back old school to our original delay. And I'll drop the amplitude here just a little bit. And let's wind this back and take a listen.
Guests at the first Creativity 360 on April 26th.
And let's add a little verb on there to give it some decay. And again, I'll choose probably the same hall, which is already pulled up here. And I'm going to make this one a little bit brighter. So I'm going to let more frequency come through. It's cutting off everything above 5,300 hertz. All right.
First Creativity 360 on April 26th.
Oh, I got to top and tail that as well. Let's do a little tail on this. All right. Let's take a listen here.
The first Creativity 360 on April 26th.
All right. I'm not hearing a lot of the decay on there.
First Creativity 360 on April 26th. First Creativity 360 on April 26th, 27th, and 28th. The first Creativity 360 on April 26th, 27th. First Creativity 360 on April.
I don't know if I love the delay. Maybe we try. Let's go into a phase. Did we try shimmer?
First Creativity 360 on April 26th.
Ooh, that's a lot.
First Creativity 360 on.
Ooh, it's got a lot of output gain. Let's try lessening that.
First Creativity 360 on April 20.
Yeah, I don't know if that's really working or not. Let's see.
Creativity 360 on April 26th. First Creativity 360 on April. First Creativity 360 on April 20. First Creativity 360 on April.
Yes. Oh, and see now, Sleeper, you're thinking. I was saying this earlier. I don't know if you're on the stream when I was saying. So I don't know what the visual's going to be yet. So yeah, there's totally a whole bunch of sections in here where I absolutely feel like it needs to be punctuated with explosion or like a. But I don't know what it's going to be yet. So I don't want to bake it in because I don't know what they. I saw what they were working on, but I didn't see the final. So I'll probably create a separate series of little that they can kind of add explosions and things that they can fly in. But yeah, we're totally thinking the same way. Anthroptics, I'll see what I can do on that. All right. Cool. Oh yes, Legacy. Okay, awesome. I will check them up. Check on those links. Pentatonic Thugs grew up on Cool Edit Pro. Rock on, man. Then you probably experienced some of my doings in those days, since I was one of the original Cool Edit dudes.
Creativity 360 on April 26th.
Now, that's not bad, little lo-fi.
At the first Creativity 360 on April 26th.
I don't mind that.
First Creativity 360 on April 26th.
Yeah, it just feels like it's kind of standing out a little bit too much, like just too much. Maybe, let me see. Let me go back to the analog delay. Nice long decays on this.
At the first Creativity 360 on April 26th.
Get rid of that phaser.
The first Creativity 360 on April 26th, 27th, and 28th. First Creativity 360 on April 20. First Creativity 360 on April 26th, 27th, and 28th.
Yeah, I'm just not loving it.
Creativity 360.
Let's do more of this. Less dry down here.
Creativity 360. Creativity 360.
It's a little more feedback.
Creativity 360.
To make it a little bit longer.
Creativity 360. Creativity 360.
Let's see those.
28th. Only. First Creativity 360 on April 26th, 27th, and 28th. First Creativity 360 on April 26th, 27th, and 28th. First Creativity 360 on April 26th, 27th, and 28th. Only at twitch.tv/Adobe. Only at twitch.tv/Adobe. Twitch.tv/Adobe. Adobe.
All right. So here, once again, I can do a little split. Now this could be cool to have it go through that other effect there.
/Adobe.
Yeah, there you go.
TV/Adobe.
Right?
Only at twitch.tv/Adobe.
A new band called Baby Metal. Yeah, oh my god, so strange. Yeah, yesterday, so I was logging into my YouTube account and it has those recommendations. I had the strangest recommendations yesterday, and I'm always like turning some of them off because some of them were like inappropriate. And I saw a thumbnail for this thing, Baby Metal, but I didn't click on it. It looked like kids in glam makeup. It was like a creepy image, so I didn't I didn't check it out, but it's a real thing, huh? I am curious. Very curious now. Okay, so now we've got 18 minutes to go. It's from Japan. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's probably like that. I'm trying to remember, what was that other band? Because this is a new one, right? There was another Japanese band of like kids that I saw doing something. It was crazy. Crazy talented, and they were like 5 years old or something. Okay, hold on. I'm looking for... This is just like temp music. Search Jason Levine pluralist. Okay, hold on. I know it's in here somewhere. Oh, I gotta go up to iTunes for a second. Pluralist. Okay. So you guys have seen me do this before, right? You can drag from iTunes. Oh, not with the dialogue open, of course. But you can drag from iTunes directly into Audition. So drop the file right in there, which is a super cool feature. All right, so let me get rid of these things. Let's shrink this up a little. So this is VO double. This is VO 360 double. And this will be music. All right. So this is not the music they will necessarily use, but it's just kind of an idea of what this could sound like. Hey, Aztec Dog, thanks so much. Whoa, 4 a.m. Thank you so much for tuning in, man. Hope to see you again on the stream. Catch me on mine as well if you feel so inclined. Beetlejace here on Twitch. And coming up after me, I believe we've got Jonah and Molt. Oh, awesome. Awesome. Jonah and Molt coming up in 17 minutes, so you'll want to stick around for them. All right. Oh, Sleeper, I'm reading. They have a big burly dude dressed up in drag singing Japanese. Interesting. So are they doing like cover songs? Knoxville, they've been around for 2 years. Okay, yeah, so they're definitely a different group. I can't remember the one. They were on the Colbert Show. That was probably the clip that I saw. It was probably from that. Their music's really cool. Neat. So is it like Pentatonic? Is it covers or is it like new tunes? Ah, theater. Yeah. You know, it's interesting. I started out programming, basic, extended basic, and then made my way up to Pascal. And I was like 12 or 13, and then just stopped doing it entirely. That I'm a little sorry for. I'm a little sorry that I didn't kind of continue coding. Okay, so let's kind of listen to what this potentially might sound like. Now, one other thing I might do here, depending upon this music. Here, let's stop this for a second. Oh, it's new tunes. Okay, cool, Foul Pals. Pascal. Yes, Ross the Burn. Old school language. Old school programming language. Who remembers Pascal in here? I'll bet Paul Weaver remembers Pascal. Well, that's super loud. Yeah. So what I was going to do with this music track, this is something which I've shown you before. So where's our main voiceover? I didn't even name it. Look at that. Okay. VO edited. So if I take our music track here and I grab our dynamics processor and I turn on side chaining, this is going to allow me, or allow Audition, to automatically, using a preset here, duck the music when the voiceover kicks in, right? So that I don't have to like scoop and carve out space for it. I may still carve out a little bit of EQ, but this is a nice handy little tip that you can use, side chaining, just to, again, kind of automatically control the levels of your audio, of your voiceover. So I go into Ascend here on the edited VO track. I'm going to go to Sidechain. Oh, there's already one in here. Oh, interesting. Okay, I guess I had it already added in there. On another one. Oh, because I was probably doing this last week. Okay. And if I increase the send level, this effectively increases how much it drops down. So let's take a quick listen here.
Join us live on twitch.tv/Adobe for a 3-day design extravaganza from April 26th to the 28th. Photoshop Hall of Fame Award winner Corey Barker will be creating incredible images and effects with Photoshop. Illustrator Sophie Roach will involve audiences worldwide as she creates one of her beautiful and intricate images. See how Synapse comes up with stunning motion graphics for a video stinger. Follow us on Twitch and learn from these masters and other special guests at the first Creativity 360 on April 26th, 27th, and 28th, only at twitch.tv/Adobe.
Okay. No, that was kind of cool. So that's kind of an idea of what the final version of this will likely sound like. And I kind of even like this music. This is something that my writing partner and I composed a while back for an asset project that we were working on here at Adobe.
/Adobe.
Okay, cool. I know exactly 0 people that know Pascal. Fortran and Pascal, Foul Pals. Oh, yes. We are sparking up. Oh, yes. All right. Hey, Slice Media. I won't forget. I will finish with Creative Cloud. Yeah, I think it's long defunct. It's been a long, long time. Rare still does it. Get out of here. Grungy, you're hilarious. Okay. Ian Lives, he's got it. You got the computer book in the attic next to your Fortran books, right? I have those somewhere too. It's COBOL. Oh my God. Wow. Yeah. Old school stuff. So yeah, I mean, I was like, again, with that hairdo that you saw at the beginning of the stream, that was me doing that stuff. And by the way, just to emphasize again here, so, you know, we just edited the voiceover. Sure. Let's see. Contains 4 files, unsaved changes. Yeah, just save it. Okay. The ducking that I just did, so adding this dynamics processor, and you could hear, right, how it was every time I'd start talking, it was automatically dropping the level of the music, which is nice. And then the music would come back up when I wasn't talking and drop down again. And the rate of how quickly it drops and then recovers is the attack and release time. Okay? So your attack time and release time. And the longer you make this release after I stop talking, the longer it takes to go back up to full volume of the music. And you can see the attack is like 1 millisecond here. So it's very, very fast. So it's really going to cut, you know, it's gonna cut in just as soon as and that's by design, right? I wanted to do that so that the music drops really at the moment that I begin, that it detects my speech, okay? So while I was listening, though, I think I could probably make a couple. Now, I haven't even EQ'd this yet, actually, but I could probably tweak a couple of the levels of some of these inserts here.
Incredible images and effects with Photoshop. Illustrator Sophie Roach will involve audiences worldwide as she creates one of her beautiful and intricate images. See how Synapse comes up with stunning motion graphics for a video stinger.
Yeah, see, now that we've got the music and everything in there, these can actually be brought up a bit.
Illustrator Sophie Roach will involve audiences worldwide as she creates one of her beautiful and intricate images. See how Synapse comes up with stunning motion graphics for a video stinger. Follow us on Twitch and learn from these masters and other special guests at the first Creativity 360 on April 26th, 27th, and 28th, only at twitch.tv/Adobe.
Yeah, and as I'm listening here, I don't like that analog delay. I think we're going to go with the original delay that I had here. And just increase this.
Special guests at the first Creativity 360 on April 26th. Special guests at the first Creativity 360 on April 26th, 27th, and 28th.
All right.
Only at twitch.tv/Adobe.
Nice. You like the 360 audio there?
At the first Creativity 360 on April 26th, 27th, and 28th.
Nice. Sweet. How to get Sony Vegas to accept MP4s. Does it not? I would think that would be a pretty standard import. Foul Pals, which hairdo? One of the variations of the mullet that I was showing in the pictures earlier. I will not show them again. I'm only allowed so much time of personal embarrassment per stream. So, all right. Next time. All right. Well, we've got 8 minutes. So I think this sans music. Now, by the way, one other thing. So now I wouldn't give Rufus the version with the music. I'd hand that off separately, of course. And this is a best practice for anyone doing this kind of work. No. But yeah, save it. What is that? Yes. Did I close this? What was I doing? What was I just going to do? Oh, I was just going to save. That's what I was going to do. Okay, no and yes. I'll mute the music here, which also means I'm going to turn off the dynamics processor. Just play this clean. So let's listen back for a second here.
Follow us on Twitch and learn from these masters and other special guests at the first Creativity 360 on April 26th, 27th, and 28th, only at twitch.tv/Adobe.
That's nice. I like the ending. So I would mix this down. Okay. So let's do a quick mix down of this. Mix down. Oh, and I don't want the entire session. I just want the time selection here, because I've got other stuff in there, so it would be super long if I mixed everything. Okay, mix. I'll just stick this on the desktop as well. I should have made a discrete folder. Okay, it performs the mix down. Hey, you know what's interesting today, friends? It's actually been good. I haven't been thinking about my tooth, thankfully, or whatever's going on that's giving me some pain back there today. I haven't even gotten up to get more coffee, water, or use the lavatory. So that's a second time that's ever happened. I was so engaged with all of you, I didn't even have to pee. It's amazing. All right, so here is the final in stereo.
Join us live on twitch.tv/Adobe for a 3-day design extravaganza from April 26th to the 28th. Photoshop Hall of Fame Award winner Corey Barker will be creating incredible images and effects with Photoshop. Illustrator Sophie Roach will involve audiences worldwide as she creates one of her beautiful and intricate images. See how Synapse comes up with stunning motion graphics for a video stinger. Follow us on Twitch and learn from these masters and other special guests at the first Creativity 360 on April 26th, 27th, and 28th, only at twitch.tv/Adobe.
I really like the ending. And I think maybe this
Follow us on Twitch.
follow us on Twitch. That kind of needs something.
Follow us on Twitch.
Whoops. Twitch.
Follow us on Twitch. Follow us on Twitch. Follow us on Twitch.
So I don't know. I'm not going to worry about that right now, but I'll definitely mark that for myself to maybe give some kind of stereo-ness or something there. So I could hand it to him like this, or the very last thing that I would do before delivering this voiceover would be just to add a little final limiting. Again, because this is going to be going into something with already pre-mixed, probably commercial audio. Now we've already compressed this, so the dynamics are very even. This would be just one more way to kind of squish it down even more and pump out a little bit of volume. And I've shown you before, you can do that in a number of different ways. There's our multi-band compressor, where I wouldn't necessarily use any of the individual bands, but I would probably use the brick wall limiter here. Okay, and again, if I wanted to kind of deliver this at, say, minus 4, all right? Make sure the brick wall limiter circuit is in, and when you adjust the threshold, this is basically your as you adjust the threshold, your amplitude gets louder, and it hits that it'll never go above that -4 dB ceiling.
Join us live on twitch.tv/Adobe for a 3-day design extravaganza from April 26th to the 28th. Photoshop Hall of Fame Award winner Corey Barker will...
Okay, so just to show you, if I were to apply that, right, you can see it's really kind of, now it's getting a bit more. Now that wasn't even like crazy limiting. You know, if we wanted to do really insane type limiting, we just increase that threshold even more, right? Maybe to something like -10. And similarly, you can drop the margin to say -5, apply that, and it starts to give you that kind of squared off brick. Now that's also going to completely kill any dynamics that you have but it'll be uniformly very, very loud.
Join us live on twitch.tv/Adobe
Take care,
for a
Legacy.
3-day design extravaganza from April 26th to the 28th. Photoshop Hall of Fame Award winner Corey Barker will be creating incredible images and effects with Photoshop. Illustrator Sophie Roche will involve audiences worldwide as she creates one of her beautiful and intricate images. See how Synapse comes up with stunning motion graphics for a video stinger. Follow us on Twitch and learn from these masters and other special guests at the first Creativity 360 on April 26th, 27th, and 28th, only at twitch.tv/Adobe.
Nice. Okay. So again, it's just, do you notice now after mastering, or I should say after broadcast limiting, it's just very in your face. You know, it really sounds like a commercial. And that's what you want for these kinds of things, you know. They don't have to have, you don't want them to be very dynamic because then people, they can't pay attention, they lose interest. So these things are meant to grab you and to jump out at you. So I'll do a save as here, and we'll just call this limited. And, you know, I would say to Michael and Rufus, okay, this one has effects, it's limited, it's very loud, but, you know, it doesn't have the music behind it. And that, my friends, is basically it. So it is time. Slice Media. Do you have the link real fast? So I can pull it up again. Maybe I can find it if I go into my notifications here. Let's see if I can find it. People were tweeting about it. Here we go. wait. Let me go to Vimeo. All right. So this is there's a full song to this. You'll never get to hear it because I'm not allowed to play the whole thing. But this was done a couple of years ago, and this was premiered, and this will be my final minute. This was premiered at Adobe Max 2013, and this, if you go to this page, this really speaks to, you know, I wrote the song "Gather the Crowd," right? Well, I rewrote lyrics to this famous song here and sang it. This is an actual performance that you're seeing. This video was never fully finished, but it speaks to my dedication and love and belief in the Creative Cloud. Take a look and a listen.
You have longed for this dream since way back in CS2. The cloud. Welcome to the cloud.
I think that speaks for itself, friends. Well, thank you so much for joining me today on Twitch. We've got Jonah and Molten Ink coming up, so stick around for them. It's been a great pleasure as always. I will see you guys back on the stream on Friday with some special stuff. Special stuff. Hope to see you then. Have a great rest of your week. I may see you, maybe pop by my channel later today. I may be back on there. We'll see you next time. Thanks, everybody. Take care. Have a great week.